Chapter 282. I'm hungry. What's good tonight? Huamin stuck out her tongue. You'll find out soon. Go wash your hands. Huamin then went upstairs to change into a light red set of pajamas, washed her hands, and went downstairs. Chin Chu had already brought out all the dishes. It was actually a seafood feast: spicy stir-fried sea cucumber, steamed crab, poached clams, steamed scallops with garlic and vermicelli, poached conch, and her favorite, steamed mantis shrimp. Did you go to the seafood market? No, I had the company buy it from a fisherman. It'll be fresher if we catch it on a boat. Honey, you know me so well. Huamin was almost drooling as she looked at the table full of seafood. Eat as much as you like, but first, drink some ginger soup to warm up your stomach. Then, Chin Chu handed her a bowl of brown sugar ginger water. Huamin felt warm inside when she saw Chin Chu's meticulous care. But you'll get gastroenteritis if you eat seafood. What are you eating? Huamin was a bit worried. I made noodles with shredded pork and pickled vegetables. But I'm eating seafood, and you're eating noodles. Won't it seem like I'm bullying you? We've been married for so long, but you've never been bullying me. PFFFT. Mr. Chin, don't be so dirty, I'm being serious. I've always been serious, Chin Chu replied as he lowered his head and ate a mouthful of noodles. Okay, I knew you were teasing me. Honey, President Wu came to Southside for a meeting today, and he said he wants to send me to the Royal Hospital in the UK as an exchange doctor. What do you think? Huamin asked on purpose. After she spoke, she secretly glanced at Chin Chu to see his reaction. As expected, Chin Chu's hand, which was holding chopsticks, paused slightly. Then, he looked up at Huamin and said, "The Royal Hospital is one of the best in the world. If you have the opportunity to go, it'd be great. But I'll be gone for half a year. Will you miss me when I leave?" No, Chin Chu answered straightforwardly. Huamin was slightly disappointed. He lowered his head and ate the mantis shrimp silently. At this moment, Chin Chu added, "I'll accompany you to England. We'll be together every day. What's there to think about? You're going to England too? What about GK?" Huamin opened his eyes wide. "That's my father's business. It has nothing to do with me." "Hubby, you're so good," Huamin said sweetly. Then, she continued to smile. "Actually, I'm just teasing you. I've already rejected President Wu. I don't want to go to England. My family is here and I don't want to leave. I'm already very satisfied with my current state of life. Mion, if you really want to go, I'll go with you." Chin Chu knew that studying medicine used to be Huamin's biggest dream. Huamin shook his head. "I don't want to go. Everyone's dreams are different at every age. I might have wanted to study medicine before, but now I'm fine with what I have. Why would I want to change my current state of life? No matter what decision you make, I'll support you. If you're the emperor, you'll be a fatuous one, haha." Huamin laughed happily. "If it's because of you, then what's wrong with being a fatuous emperor?" Chin Chu didn't think much of it and said confidently. After a satisfying seafood meal, the two fell asleep in each other's arms. The next morning, Huamin went to work early. It was 8:45 a.m. when he saw Tingting arrive. "I was stuck in traffic." Tingting didn't seem to realize the consequences of being late. If you're late for 5 minutes, you'll be fined 100 yuan. If you're late for 10 minutes, you'll be fined 200 yuan. You're late for 15 minutes, so you'll have to come to the finance department to pay a fine of 300 yuan before 11, Huamin said in a formal tone. "What gives you the right to do that?" Tingting was immediately enraged. She glared at Huamin. Chapter 283. Because I'm your boss. Don't think that you can do whatever you want just because you're a head nurse. You haven't even been here as long as I have. Let me tell you, if you dare to deduct my salary, I'm not done with you. Tingting, when head nurse Song Lin was here, you would call her in advance even if you were stuck in traffic, so she never complained about your tardiness. If you had told me in advance, I wouldn't be such an unreasonable person, but you didn't respect me. I'll say it again, if you respect me, I'll respect you. If you don't respect me, then I won't let you bully me. You don't have to pay the fine, but I'll ask the higher-ups to fire you. That's all. Huamin, you bitch. Wang Tingting was so angry that she kept cursing Huamin behind her. She always felt that Huamin was purposely picking on her and trying to make things difficult for her. The truth was, Huamin was just doing her job. Because Southside had already begun to reorganize, she had a private meeting with the other head nurses. They began to reorganize the nurses who were in charge of the bad practices. They would be fined for being late or leaving early, and they would also be given demerit points for their mistakes. President Wu quickly approved and decided to completely reorganize Southside. Huamin became the catalyst for this reorganization. Although her professionalism was commendable, she was hated by many people, and she was even isolated. During lunch, no one wanted to sit at the same table as her, and they all talked about her in private. However, Huamin was already used to it. She never cared about what others said. In the afternoon, Huamin went to room 2 to check on Uncle Liu and found that he had already packed up. Uncle, you were discharged this afternoon, right? That's right. In the blink of an eye, we've been here for more than 2 months. Time really flies. Uncle Liu smiled kindly. Your body is recovering well. You just need to strictly control your diet. You absolutely can't drink alcohol or eat sweets. I know. You're such a nag. Haha, I'm doing this for your own good. Ah, I know. Actually, I really like you. It's a pity that you didn't become my granddaughter-in-law. Uncle Liu sighed. Look, here we go again, ha. Huamin covered his mouth and laughed. I heard that you already have a boyfriend. I wonder which family's kid is so lucky. Anyway, you've taken good care of me during this period of time. Let's keep in touch in the future. If you're free, come to my house and play a game of chess with me. Alright, don't worry, sir. As long as you take good care of yourself and recover well, I'll go and visit you. Aya, I really can't bear to part with it. Why don't the two of us play around now? I'll ask the car to wait for me. Ah, I don't think that's a good idea. Huamin looked troubled. Just one plate, okay? Don't go easy on me this time. Let's do our best. Without waiting for Huamin to finish, Uncle Liu excitedly took out a Chinese chess set and started playing it like a child. Huamin was helpless. He didn't have the heart to refuse the old man's wish, so he could only play a game with him. In the end, Huamin won by a small margin. Uncle Liu gave him a thumbs up. You're so smart, kid. You're so cunning. You set up traps step by step and fooled an old man like me. All's fair in war. Huamin smiled. Let's go. Remember to visit me. In the end, Uncle Liu was escorted out of the hospital by his family. To be honest, Huamin was quite reluctant to see him go. Many new patients came to the orthopedics department one after another. However, since Huamin was already the head nurse, he didn't take care of the patients personally. In the afternoon, Wang Tingting suddenly came over and asked the nurses in the department, Head nurse, I heard that you used your working hours to play chess with the patients in the afternoon. Isn't that a mistake? Shouldn't you pay the fine? Don't tell me that you have special privileges. Chapter 284. Huamin was writing at her desk when she heard Wang Tingting yelling. She didn't even raise her head as she pulled out a ticket. It showed that she had just paid a fine of 500 yuan. In other words, she went to the finance department to pay the fine after playing chess with the old man. Wang Tingting was furious when she saw the fine, but she couldn't say a word. To be honest, she had never seen someone as crazy as Huamin. She even paid the fine herself. Is there anything else? If there's nothing else, go back to work. If you have time, practice drawing blood and administering needles. If a patient complains in the future, you'll be fined. The nurses didn't dare to say anything else and immediately left the room. This Huamin is such a jerk. I'm confused. A woman like her has no looks, no figure, and her clothes are so old-fashioned. I really don't know why young Master Su would fall for her. Wang Tingting was envious, jealous, and hateful. But even so, I heard that the head nurse rejected young Master Su. Another new nurse chimed in. What do you mean rejected? That's hilarious. You're all too young. Let me tell you, the rejection was only on the surface. Who knows, She might have already climbed into young Master Su's bed. Don't think of her as such a noble person. The more decent a woman looks on the surface, the more slutty she is on the inside. H. I've seen plenty of women like her. After Wang Tingting said that, the other nurses began to chime in as well. However, Huamin didn't care what they said. Her principle was to be herself. After all, she couldn't expect everyone to love her. She wasn't money, after all. When Huamin was about to get off work, she saw Song Lin walk in. Director Song. Huamin stood up and smiled. Are you free later? Do you want to have a drink with me? Oh sure. Huamin didn't know how to reject Song Lin's invitation. So, when she got off work, she sent a WeChat message to Qin Chu. Honey, I'm going out for dinner with my colleagues. I'll be back later. You're not allowed to drink, Qin Chu replied with these words and then fell silent. Understood, Lord Qin. After Huamin and Song Lin got off work, they drove to a Korean barbecue restaurant in the city center. The interior of the private room was decorated with tatami mats. It was elegant without losing its charm. When Song Lin changed out of her work attire, her side was also very sexy because of her large breasts. When Huamin was with her, he looked more like an airport runway, like a high school student. Director Song, is there something on your mind? No, I just admire you and want to have a meal with you. Song Lin smiled. Admire me? Huamin was surprised. I've heard a lot about you. I didn't expect you to reject the director's recommendation to go abroad. Do you know how many people want to go to England? Oh, that matter. That really doesn't suit me. Regarding the restructuring of Southside, a lot of people are angry, but they don't dare to speak up. No one dares to mention it, but you openly confronted the vice director at the conference. You're really something else. Just based on this, I'd like to propose a toast to you. Then, before Huamin could finish, Song Lin downed a glass of beer in one gulp. Huamin was a little embarrassed, so he had no choice but to drink as well. It's nothing, I'm just speaking the truth. When I first came to Southside, I knew it had a bad reputation, but I still wanted to come. After I came, I realized that it had everything. The environment was good, and the facilities were good, but the atmosphere was terrible. It would be a shame if a top-notch rehabilitation center was ruined because of this. I only suggested it, President Wu accepted it. Huamin, a lot of people are saying in private that you're President Wu's lover. Song Lin stared at Huamin and said word for word. Chapter 285. Phut, which asshole said that? Tell me, I promise I won't beat her to death. Huamin thought, President Wu is such a righteous old man, why would he slander me? Other people might believe it, but I don't. Because, when I first came to Southside, I tried to seduce President Wu to get promoted. Not only did I fail, but I was almost fired. Wow, you're brave. I had no choice. My child was sick and needed money, so I was eager for quick success. Later, the hospital director understood the situation and gave me some funding on behalf of the hospital. He even contacted an authoritative specialist for me. I'm very grateful for all of this, and that's why I've been able to work at Southside until now. Song Lin choked up. President Wu is a righteous man, but he's too strict. Many people are afraid of him. I know. That's why I'm so grateful to you for sticking your neck out and doing so much for Southside. It's good to be young, you don't have to worry about anything. You don't have to worry about your future or your family. You just have to do what you want to do. Huamin, can we be friends? I really like a girl like you. Director Song, don't say that. Just call me Lin Lin. Song Lin's eyes were filled with sincerity. When it came to paying the bill, Huamin couldn't argue with Song Lin, so she paid the bill. However, Huamin did become friends with her. When they returned to Imperial Park, it was already 10 o'clock. Qin Chu was still awake and was reading on his laptop in the living room. Honey, I'm back. Come here. Qin Chu gestured with his finger. Huamin walked over in a daze and was immediately pulled into Qin Chu's arms. Then, Qin Chu leaned over and sniffed. The smell of alcohol was strong, so his face darkened. You really turned a deaf ear to my words. Huimin immediately felt guilty. Honey, don't act cute, it's useless. Qin Chu closed his laptop and looked at her with a serious expression. Today, I'm really, a person in Jianghu has no choice. In Jianghu? Qin Chu raised his eyebrows and asked. Yes, yes. Huimin nodded. What do you mean? Qin Chu stared at Huimin's little face and asked. My boss treated me to a meal. You said that he drank and asked me to drink casually. How could I not drink casually? Of course, I had to drink. He's the CFO. If I offend him, I won't be able to get my salary smoothly in the future. In order to support my family, I have to entertain others. Raise a family? My wife, you're so great. It's okay, it's okay. Hee. Huimin felt a little guilty. So, I can resign as GK's president tomorrow and rely on you to support me? That's why my monthly expenses aren't that big. My food and clothes only cost about 7 to 8 million. Honey, I'll have to trouble you in the future. Honey, don't be like this, let's talk nicely. Huimin wanted to cry but had no tears. Qin Chu's monthly expenses were at least 7 to 8 million. Even if she sold herself, it wouldn't be worth that much. I've been trying to talk nicely. What else can I do? What do you want to say? Qin Chu leaned over and pressed his lips against Huimin's. She didn't even dare to move. Honey, I was wrong. As expected, she was a good person who knew her mistakes and was willing to change. So, how should I punish you? Qin Chu looked at Huimin with amusement and asked in his devilish voice. I'll do whatever you say, Mr. Qin. You don't have to do that. You just have to fulfill your duties as a wife. Qin Chu was being very vague, but Huimin immediately understood what he meant. She truly felt that after she went to South Side, she was led astray by the nurses. Her thoughts were no longer pure. Chapter 286. Honey. I. Huimin said I 3 times in a row. Huimin, who was always eloquent, was terrified. So are you going to do the dishes, or should I? I don't think that's a good idea. Huimin lowered her head so low that it looked like blood was about to drip out. Can't you help me wash the dishes? Qin Chu looked disappointed. What? Wash the dishes? Huimin looked up, dumbfounded. What else do you think I'm going to do? Wash what? Qin Chu smiled proudly. Huimin immediately realized that she had been tricked. She immediately pounced on Qin Chu and hit him on the shoulder. Qin Chu, you did it on purpose. You did it on purpose. However, as soon as her hand touched Qin Chu, he grabbed her hand and pressed her down onto the sofa. After 3 minutes of lingering kissing, Huimin's entire body went limp and she almost lost all her strength. Qin Chu finally let go of her and smiled. Since you're so obedient, I'll forgive you. Mr. Qin, you're so cool. After speaking, Huimin stood up and walked towards the kitchen. Where are you going? To wash the dishes, to help you. Silly girl, I don't need you. How could I bear to do that? Qin Chu smiled. So you were just teasing me. I thought you really left the dishes for me. Is your IQ really 130? Did you bribe the person who did the test, her? Qin Chu thought that Huimin's current reaction wasn't that of a genius, but rather a silly girl. I don't know what's wrong with me, but my genius function is automatically disabled in front of you. You might be a bug in my system, Huimin complained as she pouted. Haven't you heard of a saying? What? Huimin was stunned. What is love? Everything has its vanquisher. So I was subdued by you? Huimin asked unwillingly. No, I'm the one who was demoted. Qin Chu's answer was extremely straightforward. Huimin couldn't stop laughing. She wrapped her arms around Qin Chu's neck and the two of them started fooling around. In fact, she herself did not realize that she had unknowingly gotten used to the way Qin Chu interacted with her. As long as no one mentioned the unhappy past and the attitudes of both sides' parents, everything was fine. After going to bed, Qin Chu hugged Huimin, his heart full of happiness. Mion. When did your lousy hospital give me a long leave? I haven't asked yet. I don't even know how many months the annual leave is. I might go to Australia next month for an inspection. I want to take you with me. We've been married for so long, but we haven't taken you on our honeymoon yet. I'm so ashamed. Don't worry about it. Didn't they say that as long as there's love in the heart, anywhere is the Maldives? Huimin smiled and tightened her arms around Chin Chu. Chin Chu lowered his head and greedily inhaled her unique body scent. Then, like a child, he said softly, if we have a child in the future, I hope she'll have my looks, my IQ, my abilities, and my personality. What about me? Huimin looked like she had been wronged. It's enough for her to have your zodiac sign, Virgo workaholic. Chin Chu, you piece of shit. Huimin couldn't help but curse because Chin Chu was too much of a bully. Why would their child have to be like him in everything but her blood type? What was the point of having a blood type? Her IQ should be like mine. Okay, I'm a genius with an IQ of 130. I don't see 130, but 30 is more like it. Chin Chu smiled. Huimin immediately pounced on him like a deer and bit him. The next morning, the two drove out together. Chin Chu separated from Huimin at the fork in the road, so he went to GK. When Huimin was 2 kilometers away from Southside, she was suddenly rear-ended by someone while waiting for a red light. With a bang, her car shook from the impact. This was the first time she had gotten into an accident like this ever since she started driving. The problem was that she was waiting for a red light, and the guy behind her kissed her. Huimin was so angry that she immediately got out of the car. Her heart ached as she looked behind her and saw that there was a deep dent in the car. Oh, I hit you. The owner of the white Ferrari got out of the car and spoke. Huimin was about to go crazy. The owner of the car was none other than Su Yu, whom she hadn't seen in days. Chapter 287. Su Yu. Why did you hit my car? Do I have a grudge against you? Huimin was about to go crazy. God knew how much she cared about her beloved CC. I didn't know it was your car. I was playing with my phone and accidentally hit it. Su Yu looked nonchalant. You're playing with your phone while driving. Do you want to die? Even if you don't want to live, I do. Huimin was furious. Seeing how angry Huimin was, Su Yu was actually in a good mood, because he finally had a legitimate reason to see her. He planned this for an entire day. He investigated Huimin's route to work, found the exact spot, and hit her. It was perfect. God knew how much he missed her. When he saw her, he felt his heart beat faster than usual. Don't worry, it's not that serious. It's just a broken car. I'll compensate you with a new one. Su Yu knew that Huimin didn't want a luxury car, so if he damaged her car, he would just compensate her with the same model. It's okay, just pay for the repair fee. I'll get it fixed at a 4S store. I'm sorry, it's not like I need that money. If you don't want this model, I can pay you with something else. You can pick any model, or you can have this Ferrari. How about that? Su Yu pointed at the white Ferrari behind his car and smiled. It's okay, like I said, I only want the repair fee. Hurry up and pay. Huimin impatiently reached out her hand. Of course I'll pay, but we have to go through the process. The traffic police will be here soon, and they'll make a judgment. Then, they'll find the insurance company and go through the compensation process. That troublesome? Forget it, I'm in a hurry to get to work. Just leave the car here, call me when you fix it. Bye. Then, Huimin turned around to hail a taxi. However, Su Yu stopped her. Don't, you can't leave until it's done. You're the victim. But I'm in a hurry to get to work. You can take time off. I was hit by a car, and I still have to ask for leave. Su Yu, do you know how much of a jinx you are? Huimin was about to faint. Nothing good happened this morning. Forget about a jinx. He's ugly. If he's a superstar, I can reluctantly accept him. Don't talk nonsense with me. Get out of my way, I'm going to be late. Huimin was extremely anxious. Just then, the traffic police arrived and greeted Su Yu politely. Young Master Su. Good morning. Then, after looking at the scene, the judge said, as a rookie female driver, she actually took the overpass during the morning rush hour. She even crossed the line when waiting for the red light. Confiscate the car, take her away, and wait for further punishment. Huamin almost vomited blood when he heard this. How could the traffic police distort right and wrong? Even if it was to please Su Yu, there was no need to do this, right? And he even said that he had pressed the line. Was he blind? He was still a long way from the finish line. Moreover, which traffic law stated that a novice female driver could not get on the viaduct? It wasn't even a highway. After hearing the traffic police's judgment, Su Yu was very dissatisfied. With a cold expression, he said, "This girl's car was hit because I was playing with my phone and didn't focus on driving. I have to pay for it. She didn't cross the line, it's not her fault, it's my fault." Young Master Su. The traffic police was a little confused. "That's it, it's my fault. Hurry up and write." Su Yu was impatient. In the end, under Su Yu's instructions, the traffic police took the two of them back to the police station to record their statements. Huamin had no choice but to ask for leave from his superior, which delayed his work for a day. In the end, the traffic police determined that Su Yu was fully responsible for all the costs of repairing Huamin's car. Actually, it was just a small matter, but the traffic police refused to let Huamin leave. Her patience was completely worn down. She really wanted to yell at someone. If it wasn't for the fact that she didn't want to cause trouble for her husband, she really would have called Qin Chu and asked Qin Chu to pick her up. She believed that as soon as Qin Chu arrived, this group of traffic police would immediately become cowards. They were all snobs who looked down on people. After walking out of the police station, Su Yu was in a great mood. "It's rare for us to meet. Why don't I treat you to dinner?" Huamin didn't say anything. He walked up to the white Ferrari, kicked it, and then turned around to leave. TSK, does your mother know that you're so fierce?" Su Yu was speechless. Chapter 288. Huamin ignored Su Yu, hailed a cab, and left. Su Yu, on the other hand, was in a great mood after spending an entire morning with Huamin. At the golf course, a few young masters were playing golf with their female companions, and only Su Yu was alone. "It's rare to see you alone. What's wrong? Have you been eating vegetarian lately?" Hua Xiqian smiled. "Yeah, I've been eating meat for a while now, so I need to avoid certain foods." Su Yu smiled. "You're in a good mood. Can we resume our partnership? We can't reject money, right?" As they chatted, Hua Xiqian brought up the cancellation of their partnership. Su Yu played with his phone and replied nonchalantly, "Let's talk about our partnership when you kick your brainless sister out of the game." Hua Xiqian shrugged. "I knew it was Hua Yanyan's stupid idea. She must be dreaming of climbing into your bed. There are plenty of people who want to climb into my bed. Who does she think she is?" Su Yu sneered. "What about my little sister Mion? Has she climbed into your bed yet?" Hua Xiqian suddenly mentioned Huamin. Su Yu finally looked at the situation seriously. He put down his phone and tossed it onto the coffee table beside him. "Huamin, I'm determined to get her." "Really? Congratulations in advance." Hua Xiqian raised his glass. Su Yu didn't say anything, but the corners of his mouth curved up slightly. He remembered how Huamin kicked his car when he left this morning. It was so cute that his face turned red. How could a woman be so fun to play with? Although Huamin's kick cost him 150,000 yuan in repair fees, he still felt that he was worth it. However, he still felt like he had gained something out of this. At least he had gotten some alone time with Huamion this morning. No matter how you look at it, it's not a loss. At this moment, his phone rang. Su Yu looked at it and saw that it was Zhao Qingya. He ignored it and took a sip of the mineral water. "Oh, it seems that Miss Zhao is going to be laid off. She doesn't even like to answer the phone," Tang Chuan said with a smile. Su Yu didn't say anything. "I heard that your company recently promoted a newcomer called Mion. Small waist and big breasts. Did you enjoy it?" Tang Chuan continued to ask. "If you want it, I'll give it to you." "Really? Ian, really?" Su Yu had no impression of the cotton candy. He couldn't even remember what it looked like. Only his name was somewhat familiar because it was related to Huamin. Hua Xiqian chuckled and asked casually, "You seem to be very interested in women with Mion in their names. If you can tell what I'm trying to do, it means that you're paying attention to it as well." Su Yu looked at Hua Xiqian meaningfully. In the end, the two looked at each other and smiled, not saying anything else. This caused the other people at the side to be confused. Huimin asked for leave because of the car accident, so he was free again. She wanted to call Zhu Lingling to come out for dinner, but she found that her phone was off. She was probably on the plane. In the end, she walked around the mall and bought some clothes and food for the new season to give to her mother. Yang Meiyong was in a good mood when she saw that Huimin was back. She even cooked a few dishes for her. Just like that, the mother and daughter chatted on and off. Jixin hasn't been back lately? Huimin asked tentatively. No, but he calls me every day. He said that he's busy with his studies. Based on her mother's words, she didn't know that Jixin had a car. Otherwise, she wouldn't be so calm. You're living outside, and the rent is pretty expensive. Why don't you move back here? You don't have to pay for anything, Yang Meiyong said as she cross-stitched. Huimin's heart skipped a beat. Mom, Southside is too far away. The apartment I rented is closer, so it's easier for me to get to work. Okay, you can live however you want. Do you have enough money? If it's not enough, let me know. I've saved some money here for you and your brother in case of emergencies. It's okay, Mom. I have more money than I can spend. My salary is really high right now. After lunch, she walked out of the house and realized that it was only 2:00. When she passed by Starbucks, she suddenly had an idea. She bought afternoon tea and went to GK. When she arrived at GK, she took out her phone and sent a WeChat message. Mr. Qin, I'm downstairs. I bought you afternoon tea. Do you want to come down and get it? It's really good latte. 3 minutes later, Qin Chu showed up at the entrance of GK. You're not at work at this time, but you're here to buy me afternoon tea. Did you do something wrong? Chapter 289. Of course not. Why would you think of me as such a bad person? Huimin pouted, looking wronged. Then tell me first, why didn't you go to work? Qin Chu remembered that he left with her this morning. Shouldn't she be at Southside at this time? I'll tell you, don't get agitated. Speak. Then forgive me first. I don't even know what you did, how can I forgive you? If you don't forgive me, I won't tell you. I won't tell you, even if you beat me to death. Huimin thought that if she told him that she was hit, Qin Chu would be very angry, because Qin Chu always cared about her safety. Okay, I forgive you. Really? Huimin obviously didn't believe her. Really? You're a dog if you lie to me. Qin Chu smiled helplessly and reached out to pinch Huimin's nose. If I were a dog, I'd be a German shepherd, and you'd be a curly-haired poodle. Go away, you're the curly-haired poodle. Huimin wasn't happy to hear that. Mion, what's wrong? I was hit by a car when I went to work this morning. Hit by a car? As expected, Mr. Qin's nerves immediately tensed up. Don't worry, I'm fine, it's just a rear-end collision. Upon hearing this, Qin Chu let out a sigh of relief. I'm not injured, it's just that the car was a bit of a tragedy. The traffic police took care of it and paid for it in full, but I don't have a car to drive for the next few days. I'll drive one for you. Forget it, I'm scared that I'll be in the headlines the next day. Then I'll buy you a new one. No, I'm a nostalgic person, I like that CC. I'll drive it again when it's fixed. Then what are you going to do for the next few days? Qin Chu slightly furrowed his brows. Easy, you can take the bus or a taxi. Qin Chu didn't say anything, but he obviously felt that it was inappropriate. Afternoon tea. Here. Huimin handed over the food bag in his hand. Aren't you going up with me for a while? You're so busy, I don't think I should go. Huimin didn't want to go to GK, nor did he want to make a high-profile visit. It doesn't matter how busy you are, Qin Chu said. He didn't wait for Huimin to finish speaking before he took her hand and led her inside. The secretaries in the secretary's office were all stunned when they took the president's private elevator to the top floor. The CEO actually held a woman's hand and walked into his office. Although they didn't see what the woman looked like, she seemed to be dressed quite ordinarily. This incident instantly spread throughout GK, and Jiang Linyu felt uncomfortable after hearing the rumors. She took a pile of bills and went straight to the top floor, but was stopped by Assistant Yang at the door. "What do you mean?" "I'm here to ask for your signature. It's a very important bill." "I'm sorry, Director Jiang. The president is not receiving guests." "Is there someone important in there?" Jiang Linyu asked, unwilling to give up. Assistant Yang nodded. "Yes, it's someone very important to the president, so please leave, Director Jiang." "Is that person the president's girlfriend?" "That I can't tell you. This is the president's personal business, it's not something subordinates like us can ask." It was the first time Assistant Yang was so cold. Inside the president's office, Qin Chu was on the phone, talking about work. Huamin opened the cake box, scooped up a small piece of tiramisu with a spoon, and fed it to Huamin's mouth. To his surprise, Qin Chu obediently opened his mouth and ate it. Then, as he ate, he gave out orders and instructions. The atmosphere wasn't harmonious, but Huamin rarely saw him like this, so he thought it was quite fun. Huamin opened the milk tea and took a small sip. Suddenly, he was pressed against the glass window, his mouth was pried open, and all the milk tea in his mouth was taken away. Qin Chu domineeringly took the first sip of milk tea from Huamin's mouth. After drinking it, he licked his lips in satisfaction. His expression was as mesmerizing as it could get. Mr. Qin, what are you doing?" Huamin was both angry and amused. Chapter 290. If you feed me like this, I'll be very happy. Qin Chu hung up the phone and looked at Huamin in all seriousness. Immediately, Huamin's face flushed red. "This is the company, isn't that a little inappropriate?" "This is my company, and you're my wife, what's wrong with that?" Qin Chu asked back. Huamin was once again speechless. Fine, in front of Mr. Qin, she was always easily defeated. The two of them drank their afternoon tea until they were both sick and tired of each other. Huamin's lips were already a little swollen from the kisses, and Qin Chu was finally willing to let go of him. When Huamin walked out of the office, he lowered his head and walked very quickly, afraid that someone would notice. Unexpectedly, he bumped into someone at the elevator. "I'm sorry," Huamin immediately apologized. "It's okay." Jiang Linyu smiled elegantly. She waited for almost 40 minutes just to catch a glimpse of the important guest in the president's office. However, when she got a good look at Huamin, she was a little disappointed. He didn't have a devastatingly beautiful face, nor did he have a hot identity. There was nothing special about him at all. Even his clothes were so ordinary. Other than his handsome face and youthful appearance, there was nothing special about him. Huamin was supposed to go to work, so when he left home, he only wore a white shirt and black casual pants. His black heels made him look very old-fashioned. In front of a beauty like Jiang Linyu, he really didn't look that outstanding. "You're our president's friend?" Jiang Linyu asked tentatively. Yes." Huamin nodded. "I've never seen you before. Is this your first time here?" I think it's my second time." Huamin tried hard to remember. "Are you our president's friend from the States?" Jiang Linyu thought that ever since the president came back to China, he had been so busy that he probably didn't have time to make friends. Could he be a classmate from the States? "No, we've known each other for a long time." Huamin answered honestly. "Oh, I see. That's great. Our boss is a very nice person. He's a trustworthy friend. You seem to know your president very well." Huamin looked up at Jiang Linyu. She was not stupid. She could keenly feel that the woman in front of her was not simple. She would not ask so many useless questions for no reason. "Let me introduce myself. My name is Jiang Linyu, and I'm the director of GK's luxury design department. I'm also the president's right-hand woman. If you've been paying attention to our company's jewelry, you should know that the most popular piece on the market right now was designed by me." Jiang Linyu introduced Huamin in such a prideful manner to give Huamin some pressure. However, what she didn't know was that it was Huamin who gave his opinion on the jewelry before Qin Chu adopted it. Therefore, her performance was no different from a clown in front of Huamin. Fortunately, Huamin would not expose her so directly. "Really? You're pretty good." Huamin smiled. "Thank you for the compliment." Just then, the elevator arrived, and Huamin walked in. Do you want to come in with me? Huamin invited her. Just as Jiang Linyu was about to go in, she suddenly thought of something and retreated. It's okay, I just remembered that I have something to do. Bye. Jiang Linyu smiled as she said goodbye to Huamin. This elevator was exclusively used by the president. If someone found out, they would be in deep trouble. However, this woman was able to use this elevator as she pleased. Could it be that she really had something to do with the president? Was she the woman Lady Qin said she saw in the president's car the other day? Jiang Linyu had a lot of questions that she wanted to ask, and at the same time, she felt a strong sense of danger. That night, when Qin Chu returned home, Huamin inadvertently thought of Jiang Linyu and asked, "Honey, is that Jiang Linyu from your company interested in you? Why are you suddenly asking?" Qin Chu looked at Huamin curiously. He knew that she wasn't a jealous person and wouldn't ask these questions for no reason. Then, Hua Xiqian handed over a brocade box. He opened it, and inside was a Cartier bracelet. It was the latest model and very beautiful. On the outside of the bracelet, there was an English word Mion. It was obviously a custom-made one. This bracelet wasn't cheap, thank you, but I don't need it. Isn't it normal for an older brother to give his younger sister a gift? Why do you have to reject it? I don't think I'm your younger sister. You're my older brother. Mion, I've never been hostile towards you. I'm different from Hua Xiqian and Hua Yangyang. Hua Xiqian, I can't help you. No matter what you do, it's useless. I won't go back and help you deal with Shenjiani and the others. Huamin thought that Hua Xiqian was being so attentive because he was useful to him. Hua Xiqian looked at Huamin meaningfully and asked, "Do you think I'm doing this because you're useful to me? What else?" Haha, everyone says you're a genius, but I don't think so at all. Sometimes, you're so stupid. You're the stupid one. Your whole family is stupid. Doesn't my whole family include you? You're so stupid. Hua Xiqian was amused. He wasn't angry at Huamin for rejecting his gift. I don't have time to talk nonsense with you. I have work to do. Get out of my way. Your job today is to keep me company. Huamin froze for a second. Hua Xiqian continued, I just donated 30 million yuan to Southside Recuperation Center on behalf of the Hua Corporation. That's why your vice director agreed to let you, the head nurse, walk around Southside with me. Hua Xiqian, you're crazy. Huamin thought that Hua Xiqian was crazy for spending 30 million yuan just to walk around with her. What's wrong with being crazy once in a while? You don't have to take life so seriously. Mion, tell me, are you really happy with Qin Chu? Hua Xiqian opened the brocade box and played with the Cartier bracelet as he asked nonchalantly. Chapter 292. Of course. Really? But why do I feel like you and Qin Chu are together because you're hiding something? Do you think, if I announce that you two are together, it'll be fun? Especially your mother, TSK. Hua Xiqian, what on earth do you want? Huamin didn't know how Hua Xiqian found out. Her relationship with Qin Chu had always been a secret. Qin Chu even used a lot of connections to cover their tracks. However, it was as if Hua Xiqian had superpowers and always knew that they were together. I don't want to do anything. What else can I do? If you want to say it, then say it. You don't have to threaten me, I won't fall for it. Huamin hated being threatened the most. If worse came to worst, she would fight to the death. Why should she be held back by others? Look at you, I just teased you a little and you've already lost your cool. But I really like you this way. I don't have time to talk nonsense with you. If you want to do an inspection, then go by yourself. I won't go with you. Either you go tell the director that I'm fired, or you disappear from my sight. After speaking, Huamin turned around and left. She didn't want to waste any more time talking to Hua Xiqian. Hua Xiqian was in a good mood when he saw Huamin. Even though the deputy director personally walked him around Southside in the end. However, it didn't affect his good mood towards Huamin. Deputy Director Gua, please take good care of my sister from now on. President Hua, don't say that. Min has always been the best employee at Southside. Everyone takes good care of her. After Min learned about the relationship between Xiqian and Min, and seeing that the Min Corporation was not only rich, he could not wait to praise Min to the skies. He had read in the newspaper that Min was the illegitimate daughter of the Hu family. However, at that time, Min had personally made a statement that she had nothing to do with the Hu family. She had even said that she would never interact with the Hu family again. He had thought that Min had nothing to fear, but he had not expected that Xiqian would come knocking on his door. She had given him money and asked him to take care of Min. It seemed that the relationship between the siblings was quite good. With Xiqian's words, Min no longer dared to oppose Min. In other words, he no longer dared to oppose Min. After Xiqian left in his car that day, Min went to Min's office. Mion, Vice Director. Min stood up. Oh, I've been looking at the schedule recently. There are a lot of night shifts. As the head nurse, you don't have to work so hard. You can leave it to the young nurses. Take care of yourself. Thank you for your concern, Vice Director. Min's sudden show of kindness scared Min so much that she broke out in a cold sweat. She even thought that this guy was going to sleep with her. Then, she heard him say, President Hu is sponsoring Southside because of you. I hope you can put in a good word for me in front of President Hu when you have time. Vice Director, you've misunderstood. Xiqian and I. Min wanted to explain. However, Min did not give her a chance. I know. You don't have to say anything more. Go back to work. After speaking, Min turned and left. Min was dumbfounded. She muttered to herself, what do you know? GK headquarters. When Qin Chu was about to get off work, he received a call from his mother. She asked him to drive Jiang Linyu back to the mansion for dinner. Qin Chu hung up without saying anything. Just then, Jiang Linyu knocked on the door and walked in. President Qin. I just received a call from the chairman's wife. She asked us to go to dinner. Are you free? Jiang Linyu looked at Qin Chu shyly. Chapter 293. She asked you to go, so you should go. Upon hearing Qin Chu's words, Jiang Linyu immediately beamed with joy, her eyes filled with joy. Did this mean that the president agreed to take her home for dinner? Just then, Qin Chu said, why aren't you leaving yet? What are you waiting for? My car was sent for maintenance, and I haven't gotten it back yet, so I was thinking that you can call a cab. Qin Chu immediately cut off Jiang Linyue's words. Oh, okay, President Qin, I'll pack up and head over right away. Upon hearing Qin Chu's words, Jiang Linyu was slightly disappointed, but it didn't extinguish her enthusiasm for going to the Qin manor for dinner. If the president and Mrs. Qin approved of her, then it was only a matter of time before she married into the Qin manor. After Jiang Linyu left, Qin Chu also packed up and left. However, he didn't head home. Instead, he drove straight to Southside to pick up Min from work. Upon arriving, Qin Chu sent him a WeChat message, I'm at the entrance. 3 minutes later, Min jogged 500 meters away from the hospital before he found Qin Chu's car. Of course, she requested all of this. She didn't want her colleagues to see her being picked up by such a luxurious car every day. It would cause them to criticize her. You got off work early today. Min smiled. Yeah, what do you want to eat later? We can buy groceries and cook at home. What do you want to eat? Min was in a great mood. I asked Gao Ran out, and he said we can book the restaurant. You asked Gao Ran out? Should I ask Lingling to come? Min smiled mischievously. You better not. What? Do you think they're not compatible? There's no need to set them up. No, Gao Ran brought a date today. Really? Gao Ran is no longer single? Min was a bit surprised. I'm not sure about the details yet. We'll know when we meet later. Qin Chu didn't want to say much. He took Min around the city. In the end, Min said that he wanted to eat Sichuan cuisine, so he parked the car in front of a famous Sichuan restaurant. Qin Chu then called Gao Ran and told him the location. 15 minutes later, Gao Ran arrived. A girl in a yellow dress got out of the Jaguar. She looked to be around 23 or 24 years old. She had big eyes, fair skin, and long black hair. She was a standard beauty. To be honest, Huamin felt that her temperament was far inferior to Zhu Lingling's. She just looked a little soft and weak, the kind that would act coquettishly. Unlike her and Lingling, who were absolute tomboys. Have you been waiting for a long time? Gao Ran walked in with his female companion and asked with a smile. Not that long, only 15 minutes. Qin Chu had always had a strong sense of time. Gao Ran chuckled, Ayo, our President Qin's time is precious. 15 minutes is too much. It has to be my treat today. I wasn't planning on treating anyway. You're overthinking it. Huamin, can't you control your husband? He's not chatting properly. Gao Ran was angry. My husband is right. Didn't you say that you were going to treat us? Huamin said on purpose. You guys are really a family. Each one is more evil than the other. The four of them chatted and laughed as they sat down. The private room wasn't very big, but it was spacious enough. This is. Huamin glanced at Gao Ran's female companion and asked. This is my friend, Lin Xuejiao. Friend? Isn't she your girlfriend? Why are you being so reserved? Huamin gossiped. Chapter 294. Ahem. We haven't officially started dating yet, so we can only be considered friends. Gao Ran was a little embarrassed. The girl smiled shyly and introduced herself. Hello, I'm Lin Xuejiao. I work as a file manager in the 3rd Division. Oh, so you're in the same line of work. Huamin suddenly realized. With my boring job, I don't have the chance to interact with others. It's good enough that I found a colleague. A policewoman isn't bad either. Count yourself lucky. Huamin smiled. Qin Chu didn't like to talk, so he didn't interact with Gao Ran's female companion. He only chatted with Gao Ran. Lin Xuejiao took the initiative to come over and sit beside Huamin. She chatted casually. I heard that you're very good friends with Captain Gao. Ah. Yeah, we went to the same high school and have known each other for many years. That's great. Your husband is very handsome. You must be childhood sweethearts. I guess so. Huamin was a little embarrassed. I heard that Captain Gao's parents are also high-ranking officials. Do you go to his house often? The girl blinked her big innocent eyes and asked. Not often, and I'm not sure what his parents do. We just eat and drink together and don't talk about anything else. When Huamin replied, he had a rough idea of what was going on. So this girl was here to get information. How realistic was she? She immediately asked about Gao Ran's family situation. Did she really think that he was a silly deer who didn't keep his mouth shut? Oh, I see. I'm the only child at home. My parents spoil me a lot. They don't want me to find someone with bad conditions. They're afraid that I'll suffer. To be honest, Captain Gao is a good person and is quite handsome. It's just that the nature of his job is a little dangerous. That's why we haven't officially started dating. Huamin looked at her in disbelief. You're so young, but you see things so clearly. But isn't love about finding someone you like? Does it have anything to do with other factors? If you get together because of other factors, is it still pure love? Even if you like him, you still have to open your eyes and look at the conditions. What else can you do? Can love be bred? Lin Xuejiao blinked her big innocent eyes, but what she said was true. But no one is born rich. In China, the ratio of the rich to the poor is 2:8. We can't guarantee that every woman will marry a rich man, but we can guarantee that we will find a capable and responsible man. A good life is created by people. If one's character is not good, no matter how good the conditions are, they will fall. That's true, but even if you squander hundreds of millions, you'll still have at least 10 million. How long do you give a penniless person to reach 10 million? 10 years, 20 years, or a lifetime? A woman's youth can only be kept fresh for a few years. Who can afford to wait? After hearing this girl's theory, Huamin was shocked. This girl was about the same age as him, but her inner thoughts were definitely the thoughts of a woman in her 30s or 40s. It was not wrong that her parents raised her to be so realistic, but at such a beautiful age, the age when she should have met a beautiful love, she was bound by materialism and reality. Needless to say, it was a kind of tragedy. Just then, the girl seemed to be thirsty. She picked up a bottle of Evian mineral water and pretended to twist it twice. Then, she frowned. "It's so hard to open." "I'm already twisting it hard," Lin Xuejiao complained coquettishly. Just then, Huamin said faintly, "Let me do it." Then, he took the bottle of mineral water from the girl, twisted it hard, and opened it. Gao Ran and Qin Chu looked over at the same time. Chapter 295. Qin Chu, your woman is too willful. She ignores the strength of men and directly unscrews the bottle cap. Isn't that normal? Qin Chu was already used to Huamin's tomboyish side. If one day he saw Huamin act coquettishly and say that she didn't know how to do this or that, that would be a real surprise. Gao Ran smiled and said, "That's true. Everyone on the internet said that girls who can't unscrew the bottle cap are just pretending. She's much better than this when she's tearing a package apart with her bare hands." Huamin burst out laughing. Lin Xuejiao, on the other hand, was a little embarrassed as she added, "My colleagues always open my packages for me. I really can't open them. Maybe it's because my body is a little weak and I don't have much strength." Huamin smiled and didn't say anything else. With Huamin's intelligence, he already knew this girl's character at a glance. Therefore, the rest of the conversation was just casual chatter and didn't touch on their feelings. Gao Ran and Qin Chu had a great conversation. During this time, Qin Chu kept putting food in Huamin's bowl. He was afraid that she would find it too spicy, so he even used a bowl of water to rinse the food before giving it to her. Gao Ran couldn't stand it anymore. "Hey, I say, can you two go back and show off your love at home? There are still people here who can catch their breath. Which law in China forbids public displays of affection?" Qin Chu proudly replied. "Then take it easy, almighty Qin. This is a public place, you have to be considerate of other people's feelings. As long as I'm comfortable, why do I have to be considerate of other people's feelings?" Gao Ran. Huamin then added, "Plus, we're legally married." Gao Ran. "Well, I'll make an announcement. Next time, I'll treat you to a meal alone. You two can come one by one. Don't appear together, or I'll die young." "That's absolutely impossible. Either the two of us will appear together, or neither of us will come." Qin Chu had already made it clear. "Fuck, do you think the two of you are a pair of lovebirds, big brother? You're wrong. Let me correct you. Mandarin ducks are actually very unfaithful animals. They change partners every year. The poems are all wrong and unscientific. As a police officer, you still need to read more books." Huamin warned him seriously. "Qin Chu, can't you control Huamin a little? If she talks like this, she won't have any friends. My wife only needs me. She doesn't need any other friends." Gao Ran was speechless. When Gao Ran and Qin Chu were together, they were always very funny. In the past, when Zhu Lingling came, she could occasionally help him deal with Huamin and Qin Chu. However, the girl that came today only listened to their funny conversation quietly and didn't want to interrupt. This girl thought that she was a lady and wouldn't talk without caring about her image. "Lin Xuejiao, can you help me?" Gao Ran was speechless. President Qin and Lady Qin are very funny. "It's good." Lin Xuejiao smiled shyly. "You don't have to be so formal. They've been my friends for many years. Just be casual." Gao Ran also felt awkward when he saw Lin Xuejiao's state. He felt that the atmosphere was not as good as when that evil woman, Zhu Lingling, was here. After the four of them finished eating, it was still early. Gao Ran suggested that they go to karaoke. Qin Chu looked at Huamin. He didn't mind, as long as Huamin was happy. Huamin knew that Qin Chu didn't have many friends. Gao Ran was one of the best, so naturally, he couldn't bear to refuse. Then, The four of them went to a luxurious karaoke in the city. After they booked a private room, Qin Chu and Gao Ran ordered drinks. Lin Xuejiao volunteered to sing the first song. It was Seng Yikes Leo. Her voice was soft and coy. Moreover, she was off-key. Huimin couldn't stay calm anymore. She got up and said that she wanted to get some fresh air. However, she didn't expect to see Suyu at the door. Suyu happened to be walking out with a group of friends. He glanced over and saw Huimin. He couldn't move. Chapter 296. Huimin immediately turned her head and pretended not to see Suyu. Then, she picked up a bag of peanuts from the cabinet, opened it, and began to eat. Suyu moved closer to her. I didn't think you'd come to karaoke. What a magical feeling. Come on, what's wrong with me? Am I not human? If you can come, why can't I? So, you're also a nurse with a colorful nightlife, Suyu teased her on purpose. Don't talk nonsense. Did you fix my car? Car? What car? Suyu pretended to ask. Suyu, screw you. Huimin's heart ached for her beloved car. It had been 2 or 3 days since she gave it to Qin Chu. She didn't want Mr. Qin to work so hard, so she wanted to get it back as soon as possible. However, this guy pretended not to know. There's no need to fix that crappy car of yours. You might as well buy a new one. Whatever, it's tiring to talk to you. I'll live a few more years and ignore you. Cherish your life and stay away from Suyu. After speaking, Huimin proudly turned her head and walked away with a bag of peanuts. Miss, you haven't paid yet. The waiter behind the counter yelled excitedly. Find that guy. Huimin pointed at Suyu. Sure enough, Suyu took out a few hundred yuan, threw it on the counter, and left. That girl is the one you're obsessed with? Wei Liao asked with a smile in the black Range Rover. No, how is that possible? Suyu refused to admit it. Wei Liao didn't say anything else. After a while, Wei Liao suddenly muttered to himself, cherish your life and stay away from Suyu. Fuck. Suyu couldn't stay calm anymore. Did Wei Liao hear everything? Also, why did Huimin have to come up with such a heaven-shaking, earth-shattering golden sentence? What did it mean to cherish one's life and stay away from Suyu? What's wrong with the great Lord Su? When Huimin returned to the private room from upstairs, Lin Xuejiao had finished her song and was now singing another one. This is a recently popular Shui Jiqian's actor. Moreover, he was singing to Gao Ran. However, Gao Ran didn't seem to be listening carefully. Instead, he was chatting with Qin Chu. Huimin was extremely bored. He sat on the sofa and ate some snacks. Occasionally, he would clap for Lin Xuejiao. At this moment, Qin Chu suddenly came to the left and put his arm around Huimin's shoulder. Sing a song for me. You know that I'm tone deaf. It's okay. I don't dislike you. But I dislike myself. Huimin rarely sang. She always felt that it would be awkward if he ran away or forgot the lyrics. Huimin, just sing a song. Even if it's about counting ducks, we won't laugh at you. You really think highly of me. I can't sing a difficult song like counting ducks. Huimin chuckled. Sister Hua, just sing a song. Lin Xuejiao put her arm around Gao Ran's shoulder and started to cheer him on. Why don't you two sing a couple song? How about Red Dust Love Song? Gao Ran suggested. Country songs like this are perfect for you. Qin Chu glanced at Gao Ran and said. Ha 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 ha. Huimin couldn't stop laughing. The tune of the song was quite nice, but the heavy metal taste of agriculture was a little heavy. Huimin, why don't you sing husband makes money, wife spends? Gao Ran continued to tease him. Lin Xuejiao covered her mouth and giggled as well. Huimin felt that if she didn't come up with something amazing, she wouldn't be able to control the situation. Therefore, she stood up, picked up her Nike, and said, next, let's have my husband, Mr. Qin, sing Silence is Gold. Let's give him a round of applause. Gao Ran and Lin Xuejiao immediately began to clap. Qin Chu watched as his wife sold him off with a happy expression on her face. You sure know how to arrange things. Qin Chu raised his head and stared at Huimin. Huimin immediately said coquettishly, Mr. Qin, just sing a song. Otherwise, Gao Ran will laugh at us until dawn. Chin Chu was a great singer. Back in school, he sang Silence is Gold during a New Year's Eve party. He even sang it in perfect Cantonese. At the time, it shocked the entire school and made all the girls crazy about him. After so many years, would he still be able to get back that feeling? Honey, you're the best, just sing a song. Hua Min looked at Chin Chu eagerly and began her ultimate move. Chapter 297. As expected, no matter how arrogant Chin Chu was, he couldn't win against Hua Min's coquettish gaze. He had completely melted away. In the end, with Chin Chu's tacit approval, Hua Min eagerly handed the microphone to Chin Chu. Gao Ran chose the song, and the familiar melody started playing again. Silence is Golden was Chin Chu and Hua Min's favorite Cantonese song in high school. Not only was Zhong Guorong good at singing, but the lyrics were also very well written. Chin Chu's low and raspy voice was melodious. Fate has determined whether you're rich or poor. What's wrong is never right. What's true is always true. No matter what you say, I'll play my part. I'll always believe that silence is golden. There's justice in right and wrong. I'll be careful not to offend others. When faced with a cold storm, I'll be too serious. When my heart is filled with confidence, I'll ignore sarcasm and questions. I'll laugh and scold others, I'll be a free and easy person. When Hua Min heard Chin Chu sing this song again, she couldn't help but feel a lump in her throat. Back then, it was because she loved this song so much that Chin Chu, who didn't like to be in the limelight, sang it in front of the entire school at the New Year's Eve dinner. That night, they held hands as they climbed Yuya Mountain and stared at the stars for an entire night. Unknowingly, they had already spent so many years together. After Chin Chu finished singing, Gao Ran put the cigarette in his mouth between his fingers and clapped. Bro, you sang well. You're just as good as back then. Lin Xuejiao also looked at Chin Chu with admiration and shyly said, Chin Chu, you're so good. President Chin, you sang so well. Hua Min, your husband performed so well. Shouldn't you do something tonight? Gao Ran joked. Hua Min rested her head on Chin Chu's chest and tightly hugged his waist. She instantly turned into a fan. Mr. Chin, you sang so well. I'll give you 32 likes. I don't want any compliments. Why don't you just give me a kiss? There are still people around. This isn't good. You can make up for it when you get home. Hua Min, listening to their implicit conversation, Gao Ran sighed with emotion. It seems that my suggestion to sing tonight was right. Maybe I'll become the guanyin who gives gifts. Chin Chu, if you have a baby, you must let me be the godfather. With such a dirty godfather like you, how can I still be pure? Hua Min immediately retorted. Generally speaking, the four of them had a good time, except for Lin Xuejiao, who was a little reserved. When the four of them walked out of the KTV, it was almost 11 o'clock. Hua Min and Chin Chu drove back to Imperial Park. On the way, Hua Min gossiped, Honey, do you think Gao Ran will succeed tonight? You should ask that woman if she can succeed. After all, she took the initiative to approach Gao Ran. Gao Ran is indeed outstanding in the police force. He's handsome and he's the captain, Hua Min sighed. That's not important. What's important is that Gao Ran's father is the deputy director. You can even see through that. Lord Chin, you've got sharp eyes. Hua Min admired Chin Chu's ability to read people. Although he didn't interact with that woman at all, he could tell that she was a realistic person. She also had a motive for approaching Gao Ran. If that's the case, then it's hard to say. Hua Min felt that the possibility of Gao Ran and that woman being together was very low. Hua Min and Chin Chu were right. Lin Xuejiao pretended to be drunk and leaned on Gao Ran's lap in the car, thinking that they could spend the night together. However, Gao Ran drove all the way to her apartment. He woke her up, walked her upstairs, and drove her home. Most of his time with Lin Xuejiao was just an experiment. After all, he didn't have a woman at his age, and it wouldn't be good for others to gossip about him. However, after spending the night together, he realized that he couldn't find any feelings for her. He didn't like soft girls like her at all. As soon as Chin Chu and Hua Min arrived home, Chin Chu's phone began to ring. After taking the call, Chin Chu glanced at his phone. You sleep first, I have to go back to the mansion for a bit. My mom's sick. Okay. Hua Min nodded. When Chin Chu drove all the way to the Qin Manor, he realized that Jiang Linyu was still there. President Qin, you're back? Where's my mom? Chin Chu frowned without even looking at Jiang Linyu. Chapter 298. Old Madam is in her room. She doesn't seem to be feeling well. Chin Chu ignored Jiang Linyu and headed upstairs to his mother's bedroom. As soon as he entered, he saw his mother leaning against the chaise lounge with a blanket covering half of her body. She didn't look too well either. Mom, where are you feeling unwell? I'm not feeling well, Lady Qin said coldly as she pointed at her chest. Chin Chu immediately knew that his mother was upset, so he pulled up a chair and sat down across from her. Mom, why did you call me back in the middle of the night? You're my son, I miss you. Can't I see you? That's not what I meant. I just think that you don't have to pretend to be sick like a child. I'm not pretending to be sick, I'm just worried. You promised to come back for dinner today. Why did you stand me up? Why did you make Linyu wait for you all night? As the CEO of GK, shouldn't you keep your word? Mom, you seem to have misunderstood something. I didn't promise you that I would come back for dinner. What did you say when I called you? I said that I got it, but I didn't say that I would come back. Chu, stop playing word games with me. I just want to ask you one question today. When are you going to announce your relationship? Announce whose relationship? With Linyu, of course. She's a great girl, and I discussed it with your dad. She's a good match for you. Mom, my relationship is my own business, and so is my marriage. You and Dad don't need to get involved. What are you talking about? You're our son, of course we care about you. Lady Qin raised her voice. But there's a limit to how much you care about me. Don't worry about me for no reason. Then what do you mean? Mrs. Qin pulled the blanket over herself and sat up in a whoosh. Mom, don't get involved in my business. I don't even like Jiang Linyu. Don't drag her into this. Then who do you like? That girl from the Hua family? Lady Qin was furious. So what if I do? Chin Chu didn't deny it. Chu, are you crazy? Don't forget that it is impossible between the two of you. Back then. Speaking of the past, I haven't asked you why you did that to her. If you weren't my biological parents, do you think you could still sit in front of me? What else? Are you going to kill us for her? Lady Qin's face was pale as she looked at her indifferent son. Mom, I'm your only son, and I only have you two as my parents. Don't do anything that will hurt our relationship. There are many things that can't be undone once you've done something wrong. You're old now, so you should enjoy your old age. As for the rest, leave it to me. After speaking, Chin Chu got up to leave. Chu, stop right there. If you still dare to have feelings for that wretched girl from the Hua family, don't blame me for not acknowledging you as my son. What does it matter if you have me as your son or not? Chin Chu sneered and turned to go downstairs. Lady Qin burst into tears. Jiang Linyu heard the noise and immediately ran into the room to comfort her. Madam, what's wrong? Get out, all of you, get out. I don't want to see anyone. Lady Qin felt terrible and finally exploded. When she found out that her son still couldn't forget that woman, Hua Min, she almost broke down. There were so many women in the world, but why did her son like Hua Min? That little vixen seduced a man into bed at the age of 17 and almost prevented her son from leaving the country. What was so good about her? Moreover, she heard that her mother was one of Hua Min's mistresses, and Hua Min was just an illegitimate daughter. Her son, on the other hand, was blessed by the heavens. Why? Why was her son still obsessed with her after 7 years? Chin Chu was about to go downstairs when his father suddenly called out to him. Chin Chu. Dad, what's up? Let's talk, Chin Yuman said in a meaningful tone. Chapter 299. Okay. Although it was late and he was worried about Hua Min, it was rare for his father to talk to him. He wanted to take the opportunity to make things clear so that they wouldn't cause trouble for him in the future. Then, the father and son went to a small pavilion next to a fish pond in front of the villa. Chin Chu's father liked this design very much. It was said that the stone and wood were transported from Wushan and were very expensive. Even the coffee table was made of Hainan pear wood. Chin Chu sat on the side and looked at his father. He took out his phone and sent a WeChat message to Huamin. I might be back later. You should go to bed early. Okay. Huamin replied immediately. Chu, how's the company? Qin Yuman had completely delegated his power, so he rarely participated in the company's affairs. It's the same. You've been back for a while now. How are you adapting? Very well. Do you still want to go abroad? Dad, what do you mean? Just say it. Let's not waste time. Hearing his father mention going abroad again, Qin Chu was slightly displeased. What if I say that I want to shift the company's focus to Canada and our whole family emigrate? What do you think? Why do you suddenly have this idea? Qin Chu stared at his father. It's getting harder and harder to do business in the domestic market, and we can't limit ourselves to the domestic market. In addition, your uncles are very powerful in Canada. They asked me to go there several times. I'm old, and the company's benefits are not so important. I really want to drink tea and play basketball with your uncles when I'm free. Then you can go there now. There's no need to emigrate. You don't want to go? No. Even if I go there, I'll bring Huamin with me. You don't have to test me on this. Chu, Dad, does the bet we made back then still count? So what? So what if I don't? Qin Yuman couldn't tell what his son was thinking, so he didn't dare to say anything directly. It's simple. If it counts, I will be extremely grateful for your help and will do my best to take care of the business you left me. If it doesn't, then I will immediately resign from GK, leave the Qin family, and start a new life with Huamin. Are you threatening me? Qin Yuman was a little angry. No, it was never a threat. I was just telling the truth. Do you have to do this for a woman? Are you trying to make things difficult for your mother and me? It's you guys who have been making things difficult for me, Qin Chu corrected. Let me ask you, will you not change your mind no matter what? Yes. Even if she has a conflict with you in the future and causes you to break up in the end, you won't regret your decision today? Qin Yuman felt like it was necessary to give his son a heads up. After all, his son was still young and might think too highly of love. Dad, let me correct you again. We will never break up in this lifetime, no matter what the reason is. Qin Chu's words were firm, and Qin Yuman couldn't persuade him anymore. Seeing that his son was determined, Qin Yuman finally sighed. Okay, I hope you made the right decision today. I hope that girl doesn't disappoint your stubbornness. As Qin Chu left the mansion, he was thinking about something. Was he stubborn? Many people had said that, but all these years, the only person he was stubborn about was Huamin. That was it. There was nothing wrong with liking someone, and there was nothing wrong with continuing to like someone. When he returned to Imperial Park, Huamin was already asleep. Qin Chu lit a cigarette and sat on the windowsill. He quietly admired Huamin's face. It was as if he was looking at a rare treasure. No one, no matter who it was, could take Huamin away from him. No one. He would rather break his parents' hearts than miss another 7 years with Huamin. He was really afraid of losing her again. It wasn't easy for him to find the girl he loved. Mion, my Mion, Qin Chu whispered Huamin's name under the enchanting night sky. Unfortunately, she didn't hear him. She was still deep in her own sweet dreams. The next morning, Qin Chu drove Huamin to work. When they arrived at Southside, she immediately saw her beloved car parked there. It seemed like it was fixed. She happily walked over and opened the car door. She saw a bouquet of lilies on the driver's seat. There was also a card beside it. She picked up the card and looked at it. Her expression changed again and again. Chapter 300. The card read, I'm really sorry for accidentally hitting your car this time. The car has been fixed. Next time, I'll try not to hit you so hard. Next time? There was a next time. She even said she wouldn't hit him so hard. Then what was the impact? How could she control the severity of the collision? Huamin was furious. He pulled out the lilies from the car, threw them on the ground, and stepped on them. Hey, head nurse, what's wrong? Nan happened to be at work. When she passed by, she saw the head nurse stepping on the flowers and immediately went up to see what was going on. Nothing, I don't know which pervert gave it to me, but I thought it was bad luck, so I stepped on it. What a pity, it's such a big bouquet. Nan smiled. Although Su Yu's apology letter was weird, at least the car was fixed and looked better than before. GK headquarters. After the executive meeting, Jiang Linyu couldn't wait to enter the president's office. What's up? President Qin, about what happened last night. Jiang Linyu seemed like she wanted to say something. About what happened last night, I happen to have something to tell you. Your perfunctory work ends here. You don't have to see my mother in the future, and you don't have to help me hide it, because I already made it clear to her last night. President Qin. Jiang Linyu didn't think Qin Chu would be so unreasonable. You can go to the finance department to get your reward. Don't come to my house again, that's all. President Qin. I don't want a reward, I just want to get out. Before Jiang Linyu could finish, Qin Chu asked her to leave. He didn't have time to listen to these women cry and complain. Other than Huamin, he didn't care about any other woman. Jiang Linyu walked out of the president's office with tears in her eyes. She was in a terrible mood. Director Jiang, are you okay? Even Assistant Yang could tell that something was wrong. Jiang Linyu shook her head and quickly ran downstairs. She was in low spirits the entire day. She performed so well at the company, and even worked overtime often, all because she wanted Qin Chu to take a second look at her. However, just when she thought she was about to succeed, everything was ruined. The president's wife had basically given up on her. She could tell from her attitude towards her last night. So if he wanted to fantasize in the future, he could only rely on himself. Jiang Linyu leaned over her desk and cried for a while. Finally, she picked up a tissue and elegantly wiped her red and swollen eyes. Was Qin Chu ignoring her because of that woman? If that woman disappeared from this world, would he still have a chance? Then, Jiang Linyu pulled herself together, and viciousness flashed across her eyes. Lunchtime staff canteen. Jiang Linyu carried the cutlery and sat down across from Assistant Yang. Can I sit here? Jiang Linyu smiled. Director Jiang, please. Assistant Yang was very polite to Jiang Linyu. First of all, he thought that this woman was very capable and beautiful. She was also a decent employee at the company, and he had never heard of her having a scandal with a man. Assistant Yang, have you gone on a business trip with the president recently? Yeah, the president doesn't seem to like to go on business trips. He only goes out once in a while. Even if it's in the middle of the night, he still has to catch a flight back home. Yang had already grasped the president's longing for home. Does the president have a woman he likes? Finally, Jiang Linyu asked the main question. I'm not sure, I don't dare to ask about the president's private life. It should be the woman who came to the president's office last time. She's the president's girlfriend, right? I'm not sure. Assistant Yang was naive, but he wasn't stupid. He only gave a vague answer to Jiang Linyu's question. Director Jiang, you seem to be very interested in the president's affairs. Assistant Yang asked. Oh, it's because the president's wife always asks me, but I'm not always by the president's side, so I can't answer her questions. I feel quite guilty for letting her down. Oh, I see. Assistant Yang smiled and didn't say anything else. At the end of their conversation, Jiang Linyu suddenly asked, Assistant Yang, don't tell me you don't know the president's new address? Do you want the president's new address? Yeah, because the president's wife said that she's worried that the president won't be able to take care of himself when he's living outside. She told me to buy some daily necessities for him, but I don't even know where the president lives. It's so awkward. Jiang Linyu smiled. Assistant Yang was a bit conflicted. He wasn't sure if this woman was telling the truth. Should he really tell her the address? Chapter 301. How about this? Why don't you ask the president directly? You know that the president has a weird temper. If I tell you directly and say the wrong thing, I might lose my job. Please understand, Director Jiang. Assistant Yang wasn't an idiot. There was no way he would fall for Jiang Linue's trick so easily. Jiang Linue's expression changed slightly upon hearing this. She then smiled and said, "Okay, I'll ask President Qin when I have time." Jiang Linyu saw that she couldn't get any more information from Assistant Yang, so she gave up and left. Ever since Assistant Yang came to GK, he was very grateful for the president's promotion, even though the president had a weird temper and was a little weird. However, he treated his subordinates well and treated them well. Many people were jealous of his treatment. Therefore, even if the president or his wife came, he wouldn't say anything. It had always been his belief to be loyal to his boss. As a person, he couldn't be half-hearted. When Huamin got off work at Southside, she was in the mood to go shopping and buy some shoes for the new season. At the Wanda Plaza in the city center, Huamion was wearing a dark gray sportswear with a cute Totoro pattern on it. It made her look younger than she already was and made her look like a college student. After shopping for a while, she was a little tired and didn't buy anything. Finally, she went to a Starbucks for coffee. As soon as Huamin walked in, she saw two familiar figures. If she wasn't mistaken, those were Ning Jiyuan and He-Man. Why were they together? At this moment, Ning Jiyuan looked up by accident. When he saw Huamion, his expression froze. He-Man saw Ning Jiyuan's reaction and looked back. Then, she smiled mockingly at Huamin. Huamin didn't plan on greeting them, he just found a seat and sat down. Then, he ordered an iced mocha. Ning Jiyuan, on the other hand, couldn't stay calm. He got up and walked over. "Mion, are you alone?" Huamin nodded but didn't say anything. "I haven't thanked you properly for last time. I'll buy you dinner when I have time." "No need." Huamin's voice was indifferent. Just then, He-Man got up and walked over. She put her hand on Ning Jiyuan's shoulder and smiled at Huamin. "What a coincidence, I didn't expect to see you here. I heard you got promoted to head nurse, not bad." Huamin looked up and glanced at He-Man coldly. "You get the news." In fact, she was extremely disgusted with He-Man, because she always felt that He-Man's heart was too dark. Wu Xiaoxue, on the other hand, hated Huamion openly. She didn't have to resort to underhanded means to deal with her. On the other hand, He-Man was the opposite. She liked to hide in the dark and stir up trouble. She was a villain. Even call her a scheming bitch. How did I not know about this big deal? You must have done well to get promoted so quickly. I heard that Deputy Director Guo likes innocent women like you. You look so pure on the outside. Obviously, He-Man was implying that Huamion must have had something going on with Deputy Director Guo since she got promoted so quickly. To her surprise, Huamin smiled and replied, "Since you've already left the hospital, stop criticizing me. It won't do you any good." Then, Huamin stared at Ning Jiyuan and warned him calmly, "If I remember correctly, you're done. Your wife is Wu Xiaoxue, and she's pregnant. Don't do anything out of line. After all, if President Wu finds out, it won't help your job. You should be content with what you have and know your place." "Mion, you misunderstood. I only saw her today because..." Ning Jiyuan wanted to explain. Huamin was no longer in the mood to listen. He got up and left. "Sorry, I have something else to do." "This woman is still so annoying," He-Man said viciously as she looked at Huamin's back. "He-Man, why did you ask me to come here? If you're not going to tell me, I'm leaving." Ning Jiyuan turned around and looked at He-Man. He had completely lost his patience and his attitude was bad. Chapter 302. Jiyuan, I recently opened a milk tea shop. It's currently under renovation, but I need some money, so... Are you asking me to lend you money? Ning Jiyuan sneered. Yeah, I don't have many friends, but you've been nice to me, so I was wondering if you could lend me some since we used to be together, and I even had a miscarriage because of you. I'll definitely pay you back. Ever since I left the hospital, I haven't been able to find a job. You should know that Wu Xiaoxue banned me from the industry, and I can barely make a living now. He-Man looked at Ning Jiyuan with tears in her eyes, as if she had been wronged. Ning Jiyuan didn't have any feelings for He-Man. When they were together, it was just to vent in bed. However, any man wouldn't be able to stand a woman crying and complaining like this. Therefore, even though Ning Jiyuan was disgusted, he still asked, "How much do you need?" 50,000 is enough, I still have some money with me. He-Man's voice was very soft as she looked at Ning Jiyuan. I don't have that much money with me, my wife has it all. I only have 20,000 in my WeChat account, I'll transfer it all to you. Okay. Then, Ning Jiyuan added He-Man's WeChat account and transferred 23,800 to her. After He-Man confirmed that she had received the money, she smiled. Thank you, Jiyuan, I will definitely pay you back. No need, take the money and don't come looking for me again. After speaking, Ning Jiyuan turned around and left. He-Man's eyes gradually turned cold. Ning Jiyuan, Wu Xiaoxue, Huamin, none of you will have an easy time. Just wait and see. When Huamin got home, dinner was ready, but Qin Chu wasn't home yet. She took out her phone, leaned on the sofa, and chatted with Zhu Lingling on WeChat. Zhu Lingling sent a picture of her rich boyfriend, asking Huamin to comment. Huamin, you're so fierce, how would I dare to comment? Zhu Lingling, it's okay. Tell me the truth. I won't be angry. Huamin, alright, you're the one who asked me to say this. Your boyfriend's looks, he's a little low. He's way worse than Gao Ran. Zhu Lingling, why should I compare myself to Gao Ran? I don't think he's that handsome. Besides, I think it's safer to find someone who's uglier. At least they won't go out and fool around. Someone who's too handsome won't make me feel safe. After saying this, Zhu Lingling added, of course, Mr. Qin is an exception. Huamin, I don't quite agree with what you said. I don't think that ugly people have a lower chance of cheating. Let me give you an example. Handsome people are never short of admirers. When they seriously choose to be with someone, they are really together. But ugly people basically have no one who likes them. They will immediately sleep with whoever likes them. They choose to marry someone because they have no other choice, understand? Zhu Lingling, what kind of twisted logic is that? Huamin, sister, this isn't twisted logic. Let me give you another example. If a person has 100 yuan and can afford Coke, Sprite, and mineral water, but he likes mineral water, then it must be true. But if a person only has 2 yuan and can only afford mineral water, would you believe him if he said he likes mineral water? Give him a bottle of Coke and he'll enjoy it more than anyone else. It's not that ugly men don't cheat, it's just that they don't have the chance. Once they have the chance, they will do everything they can to prove that they are attractive. Once they have the chance, they will do everything they can to prove that they are attractive. Zhu Lingling, oh my god, Miss Hua, I'm so impressed by your twisted logic. You've really brainwashed me and enlightened me. Huamin, think about it. Don't you think it makes sense? Zhu Lingling, you're right, but not everyone is as lucky as you. Not everyone is as lucky as you to have such a good man by your side when you were young. Qin Chu's good looks are rare in the world, but just because you're lucky doesn't mean others are. Huamin, I think Gao Ran is a good choice. He's handsome, has a good family background, and has a cool job. Chapter 303. Zhu Lingling, him? Forget it, I don't want him for free. Huamin, you're thinking too much, he won't give it to you for free. I just had dinner with Gao Ran yesterday, and he brought his girlfriend. She's pretty, petite, and slightly delicate. Zhu Lingling, her? He has a girlfriend so soon? That's unbelievable. How could a girl like him with that wicked mouth of his? Huamin, haha, you have such a vicious mouth, but don't you already have a boyfriend? You have to be kind. You can do whatever you want, but you can't do whatever you want. Zhu Lingling, then I have to hurry. I have to get married before Gao Ran gets married, or else he'll make fun of me. Huamin, Lingling, all these years, did you really not like Gao Ran at all? You two seemed to have a lot of fun when you were in school, but why didn't anything happen in the end? Zhu Lingling, Gao Ran doesn't have that kind of luck, HMPH. Huamin smiled and didn't say anything else. There was a story between Gao Ran and Zhu Lingling 7 years ago when she was with Qin Chu. As Qin Chu's best friend and Huamin's best friend, Gao Ran and Zhu Lingling naturally saw each other more often. Therefore, there was a subtle change in their relationship for a while, but for some reason, it was left unsettled. Neither of them mentioned it, so Huamin never asked. Now that she saw that Zhu Lingling and Gao Ran each had a boyfriend and a girlfriend, she felt quite sorry for them. Actually, she always thought that they were quite compatible. Bored, Huamin scrolled through his WeChat moments and found something interesting that Jixin posted. Therefore, he decisively reposted the post. It said that when a father first heard that his daughter has a boyfriend, he felt like a farmer whose hard-earned harvest of cabbage was eaten by a pig. When a father first heard that his son has a girlfriend, he felt like a pig that had been painstakingly raised for more than 20 years finally learned how to eat cabbage. There was also a picture of a piglet eating cabbage. Less than a minute after it was posted, there was several comments. Zhu Lingling, ha 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 ha, I'm dying of laughter. He's so talented. Jing Jixin, sis, next time, before you copy my words, you have to give me a like first. Huang Yu, senior sister, you seem to be in a good mood recently. I rarely see you posting on your WeChat moments. Let's have dinner together some other day. Nurse Nan Nan from Southside, head nurse, I didn't know you had such a funny side. Huamin scanned through the comments and found them to be quite interesting. Suddenly, another comment popped up. She clicked it open and immediately laughed out loud. Qin Chu commented below, so, are you the cabbage or the pig? She immediately replied, bro, of course you're the pig and I'm the cabbage. But I'm the good-looking one in our family, aren't I? Qin Chu proudly replied. So, why are you talking back to me like this? Do you want to kneel on a durian or a washboard tonight? Huamin rolled her eyes at him. As soon as she sent this sentence, Huamin heard the sound of a key unlocking the door. Huamin got up and ran over in her slippers. She reached out and stopped Qin Chu. I own this mountain, I planted these trees. If you want to cross this road, leave your money behind. Qin Chu elegantly took off his jacket and glanced at Huamin. I'm yours, you can do whatever you want with me. Huamin's face instantly turned red. Qin Chu was always taking advantage of her. Dinner is ready. I tried radish ball soup for the first time tonight. Why don't you try it? Lingling taught me how to make it. It's a dish passed down in her family. Every time I go to her house and her dad makes it for us, I always think it's delicious. Then, Huamin brought out the dishes one by one meat dish, one vegetable dish, and one soup. It was simple, but the color was good. Qin Chu walked over to the dining table and sat down. He picked up the soup bowl and took a small sip. Huamin was slightly nervous. How is it? How is it? Qin Chu looked up at her. Do you want to tell me the truth? Chapter 304. If the truth is hurtful, you can lie to me once in a while. Qin Chu pursed his lips and laughed. What are you laughing at? Tell me, how many points? It's my first time making it, Huamin urged anxiously. If it's a lie, then, it's delicious. What about the truth? Huamin was a little worried. The truth is, it's very, very delicious. Okay, you tricked me, you scared me to death. Huamin was completely relieved after hearing Qin Chu's words. She tasted the soup when she made it and thought it was all right, although it wasn't as exquisite as Lingling's father's. However, it was still quite fresh. Qin Chu had always been very picky when it came to food, so she was afraid that he would say it tasted bad or something. However, her worries were completely unnecessary to Qin Chu. Even if Huamin made arsenic, he would still say, it's delicious, it's very delicious. For a man who was obsessed with his wife, what else could he possibly say that he wasn't satisfied with? After happily eating dinner, Qin Chu went into the kitchen to wash the dishes. Huamin was leisurely munching on an apple as he watched a music show. Inside the kitchen, Qin Chu's phone rang. He rinsed the foam off his hands and picked up the phone. Hello. Boss, someone has been investigating your current address and investigating you and Madam. They even went to your school to investigate what happened back then. What are they planning? Stop them. Yes, boss. After hanging up the phone, Chin Chu's eyes darkened. He didn't interfere much with Huamin's work at Southside, nor did he plant any spies there. When it came to his wife, he trusted her 120%. However, recently, there were people secretly investigating Huamin's address and what happened back at the school. This made him a little worried. The good thing was that Imperial Park was very private. When they bought it, they used Huamin's name. The real estate certificate had been tampered with by the Real Estate Bureau to hide it. Most people would not be able to find it. If someone wanted to follow Huamin, they could only stop here because he had already cleaned up the Imperial Park. At that time, it was to prevent his parents from causing trouble for Huamin. Now, it seemed that there were other people who were interested in Huamin's private affairs. Lord Qin, are you done yet? Come out and take a look. Milk tea is singing. Huamin's voice came from the living room. After Chin Chu tidied up the bowls and chopsticks, he walked out of the kitchen and sat beside Huamin. Milk tea Liu Ruoying's melodious voice was heard. Is this song nice? Huamin held Chin Chu's arm and asked intimately. It's nice. So you're here too. I've loved this song for many years. Every time I listen to it, my heart flutters. Huamin smiled. Chin Chu didn't say anything else. He let Huamin rest his head on his shoulder and enjoyed the time that belonged to the two of them. The truth was, he didn't like Milk Tea's songs, nor did he know who Liu Ruoying was. He only knew that as long as Huamin liked it, he would like it. If Huamin was happy, then he was happy too. Love the house, it was that simple. After Huamin took back his car, Chin Chu insisted on driving him to the fork in the road every day, even though he didn't need to drive him anymore. In the end, the two of them went their separate ways and went to work. Their days were busy but fulfilling. Imperial Star headquarters, Su Yu rarely came to the headquarters to sit in his office. Most of the time, he gave orders over the phone or had video conferences. However, the miraculous thing was that Imperial Star was growing bigger and bigger. It was now a well-known media giant in China. Many overseas Chinese celebrities were attracted to Imperial Star, and their reputation in the industry was very good. President Su, I'm sorry. We still couldn't find the person you asked us to investigate, a young man in a suit said with his head lowered. Are you all useless? No, someone purposely blocked everything. This person has a very powerful background. Otherwise, we wouldn't have been unable to find anything even after using so many connections. Su Yu looked at the information in front of him, his face filled with anger. After investigating for almost half a month, they only found out that Huamin had a boyfriend in university named Ning Jiyuan. That person even got married a few days ago. What did this mean to Su Yu? I want to investigate her current boyfriend, not her ex-boyfriend. Do you understand? I understand. If you understand, then why aren't you going to investigate? Do you want me to teach you? Su Yu was speechless. It took him so long to investigate a woman for the first time, but he still couldn't find anything. Was Huamin too complicated? Chapter 305. Seductive Fox, Nightclub. It was the biggest nightclub in the city, and also the most expensive place for entertainment. Most of the guests were rich heirs and socialites from the upper class. Here, it was normal to spend hundreds of thousands in one night, so it wasn't surprising at all. Ever since Zhu Lingling got together with her rich boyfriend, Deng Kai, she often went out with him to have fun. However, Zhu Lingling didn't like Deng Kai's social circle. She thought it was too complicated, and that the world of the rich wasn't as simple as the average person's. Most of the time, it was dirty beyond compare. The truth was, Zhu Lingling didn't like Deng Kai that much. She just thought that Deng Kai was generous and treated her well. Therefore, she thought that if they could continue dating, marriage wasn't out of the question. After Zhu Lingling got off work, she wanted to go to bed and rest, but Deng Kai called her 3 times in a row, asking her to come to Seductive Fox. When Zhu Lingling arrived, she only wore a simple black windbreaker, denim shorts, and black heels. As an air stewardess, she had the looks and the figure. This was also the reason why the rich second generation had taken a fancy to her. Lingling, come here. Deng Kai gestured for her to come over. Zhu Lingling walked over and sat down beside Deng Kai. Here, let me introduce you to Zhu Guangming, young Master Zhu, the heir of Qianfu Mining, Deng Kai introduced as he pointed at a man with a protruding mouth and monkey-like cheeks. Zhu Lingling nodded and greeted him, young Master Zhu. She was actually thinking, isn't he just the son of a coal boss? Why is he being introduced so formally? Lingling, you're in luck today. Do you know who's coming? Deng Kai asked mysteriously. Zhu Lingling shook her head. I'm telling you, young Master Su is coming. Su Yu. Zhu Lingling was slightly surprised. That's right, young Master Zhu and young Master Su know each other. It's young Master Zhu's birthday today, so he invited young Master Su and young Master Wei. Young Master Su and young Master Wei will all be here. You can post it on your WeChat moments, haha, your friends will be so jealous. Deng Kai laughed maniacally. The truth was, as a rich heir, Deng Kai couldn't compare to Su Yu and Su. It was also his first time seeing Su Yu in person, so he was even more excited than Zhu Lingling. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Zhu Lingling was quite curious about Su Yu because there had always been rumors about this crown prince. Zhu Guangming stared at Zhu Lingling lecherously and said with a smile, you are indeed a stewardess. You are beautiful, your skin is white, and your legs are straight. Zhu Lingling wasn't used to such blatant praise. She smiled awkwardly and didn't say anything more. During this time, Zhu Guangming kept toasting them. Zhu Lingling could hold her liquor well. She drank 3 glasses in a row to give him face. Deng Kai was playing rock paper scissors with some friends and had completely forgotten about the existence of Zhu Lingling. She sat alone in a corner with her phone in her hand and sent a WeChat message to Huamin. Girl, I'm at Seductive Fox. Do you know who's coming? Who is it? Huamin didn't understand. Su Yu. I heard that Su Yu is coming. Haha, I'm so nervous. I'll secretly take a picture of you. It's okay, I'm not interested in Su Yu. Huamin saw Su Yu every day at the hospital, so naturally, he wasn't interested. Just then, Zhu Guangming suddenly came over with a glass of wine. Hey babe, let's play a game of dice. I don't know how to play. I can teach you. Zhu Guangming placed his large hand on Zhu Lingling's smooth thigh as he spoke. Zhu Lingling immediately stood up and smiled. Sorry, I need to use the washroom. Just as Zhu Lingling was about to leave the washroom, the door to the private room opened. Everyone in the private room stood up. Young Master Su. It was a grand scene. Zhu Lingling also looked towards the door curiously. Chapter 306. The man at the door was dressed in a cream-colored casual shirt with a deep V-neck. His chest muscles were faintly visible, making him look extremely sexy. Zhu Lingling was a fan of luxury goods, so she immediately recognized the brand he was wearing. It was a world-class luxury brand, Valentino. Moreover, it was a limited edition. This outfit must have cost at least a few 100,000 yuan. Zhu Lingling was completely speechless. In comparison, her boyfriend, Deng Kai, who was wearing an Armani that cost a few thousand yuan, was nothing. Then, Zhu Lingling took a closer look at the man's face. His eyes were neither big nor small, and his eyelids were double. There was a feminine beauty between his eyebrows. His lips were red, his teeth were white, and he was very good-looking. Was he the rumored hot-tempered prince, Su Yu? After Su Yu entered, Wei Liao, Tang Chuan, and other famous princes followed behind him. Along with them were 4 bodyguards in black suits. It was a grand scene. There were more than 20 people in the room, and when they saw Su Yu, it was as if they were seeing their own father. Some of them went to pour wine, while others went to light cigarettes. Zhu Guangming even put away his arrogance and went over to Su Yu, nodding and bowing. Young Master Su, it's my honor to have you here. Su Yu glanced around nonchalantly, as if he wasn't interested in anything. He wasn't familiar with Zhu Guangming, so he didn't need to give him face. The only reason he was here was because Zhu Guangming's brother-in-law, Shenao, was quite close to him. Zhu Guangming spent a lot of money and brought a few bottles of extremely expensive wine to Su Yu and Wei Liao. Zhu Lingling was dumbfounded. In her excitement, she secretly took a photo and sent it to Huamin. Guess, which one is Su Yu? The idiot in the white suit. Heroine, you have good eyes. Zhu Lingling exclaimed. Sis, Su Yu stayed at our hospital for so long. Even if I was blind, I wouldn't mistake him for someone else. Okay, I didn't think that Su Yu was so good looking. He looks like a Korean celebrity. Oh my god, I'm going to be smitten with him. Save it, Su Yu isn't a good person. Don't have high hopes for him, Huamin advised. Haha, don't worry. I'll admire him from afar. A man like Su Yu isn't someone we can afford to offend. It's good that you know. Look at the time. You should go home early. Don't stay there too late. Huamian didn't think it was safe for girls to stay too late at night, so she tried to persuade Zhu Lingling to stay. Don't worry, my boyfriend and I will leave after a while, Zhu Lingling replied. Qin Chu was working overtime, so he was in a meeting in the neighboring city. After Huamin replied to Huamin's WeChat message, he fell asleep again. Zhu Lingling thought that after celebrating young Master Zhu's birthday, she would be able to leave with Deng Kai. However, she didn't expect that what happened next would be beyond her imagination. Zhu Lingling could not tolerate the scale of his actions. The loud music was mixed with the screams of men and women. Most of the men had female partners with them. A few of them didn't, so they called a few hostesses to accompany them. It was a chaotic scene. Although Zhu Lingling loved to party and go to nightclubs, she knew what to do and what not to do. So, when she saw this scene, she subconsciously felt disgusted. She walked over and grabbed Deng Kai's hand. Just as she was about to tell him that they were leaving, she saw Zhu Guangming walk over. Deng Kai, what's wrong with your girl? Why isn't she taking off her top? Zhu Guangming stared at Zhu Lingling with a sly smile. She's a little shy. She's never done such a big thing before. Deng Kai laughed dryly. You'll get used to it. Let your stewardess girlfriend join in. Everyone can have fun. Chapter 307. Deng Kai turned his head to look at Zhu Lingling, as if asking for her opinion. Zhu Lingling immediately rejected him. No way, I won't do that. I can't play this kind of game. Deng Kai laughed dryly, looked at Zhu Guangming, and replied, she's petty. She came from a poor family, so she can't afford to play this game. Young Master Zhu, please don't lower yourself to her level. To be honest, this sentence made Zhu Lingling very unhappy, but she didn't say anything. She just thought that Deng Kai was giving Zhu Guangming a way out. Just then, Zhu Guangming walked over with a glass of wine, unwilling to give up. Really? But I'm the birthday boy today, so I'm the most important person here. If you don't want to take off your clothes, can you at least have a glass of wine? Deng Kai looked at Zhu Lingling with a pleading look in his eyes. Lingling, just have a glass. Zhu Lingling thought that everything would be fine after she drank this glass of wine. Plus, Deng Kai was here, so she should be fine. So, she took Zhu Guangming's wine without any warning and downed it in one gulp. She didn't notice the sinister smile on Zhu Guangming's face at all. Meanwhile, not far away, Su Yu was still chatting with Wei Liao. He didn't seem to care about anyone or anything in the room. After drinking the wine, Zhu Lingling felt a little dizzy. Her heart raced, and she realized that something was wrong. She immediately ran to the bathroom and tried to vomit. Just then, a woman walked into the bathroom to touch up her makeup. She smiled and said, "Young Master Zhu put something in your wine. Your boyfriend obviously wants to give you to Zhu Guangming to play with. Just admit defeat, there's no way you can escape." When Zhu Lingling heard the voice, she looked up and realized that the woman was Hua Yangyang. She had always known Hua Yangyang, and Hua Yangyang was no stranger to her. Because of Hua Min, Zhu Lingling hated Hua Yangyang. "Why are you here?" She was surprised to see Hua Yangyang. Perhaps Zhu Lingling was too focused on Su Yu, so she didn't notice that Hua Yangyang was among the women in the private room. It was no wonder that she couldn't recognize her. Hua Yangyang was wearing smoky makeup tonight, and her eyes were as big as a panda's. It was scary. Moreover, the skirt she was wearing was also fluffy and colorful, just like a parrot that had become a spirit. Hua Yangyang didn't help them when they took off all their clothes. Instead, she went over to Su Yu to propose a toast. Su Yu obviously ignored her. She was drinking and playing dice with Wei Liao and Tang Chuan. Wei Liao and the others didn't have a good impression of Hua Yangyang either, but because she was a member of the Hua family and Hua Xiqian's sister, they still gave her some face. Now that they saw Hua Yangyang, their hearts felt like jelly. Zhu Lingling tried her best to throw up, but she still felt dizzy. I never have anything to say to people like you. Move aside. Zhu Lingling pushed Hua Yangyang away and walked out in a daze. However, she accidentally overheard a conversation that made her heart turn cold. Zhu Guangming, Deng Kai, I like your girl. Let me play with her tonight. Deng Kai, young Master Zhu, I don't think that's a good idea. I quite like her. Zhu Guangming, women are like changing clothes. Don't be so stingy. I can let you play with mine too. You can have fun with her. She's Chinese and Russian. She has a hot body and is ridiculously skilled. Deng Kai, young Master Zhu, Zhu Guangming, then it's a deal. When the effects of the drug kick in, I'll take her to the lounge next door for a round. Then, Zhu Guangming patted Deng Kai's shoulder. He actually didn't refuse. Zhu Lingling felt like her lungs were about to explode. Deng Kai usually looked like a man, but why was he acting like a coward here? He didn't even dare to talk back to Zhu Guangming. He even wanted to lend her to Zhu Guangming for a night. Motherfucker, I'm so angry. Zhu Lingling angrily rushed over and grabbed Deng Kai's collar. Are you even a fucking man? Chapter 308. Lingling, I can't afford to offend young Master Zhu. I'll have to trouble you for one night. As soon as he finished speaking, Zhu Lingling slapped Deng Kai's face. With a loud smack, Deng Kai's face turned red. Then, Zhu Lingling picked up her bag and prepared to leave. However, she was stopped by Zhu Guangming's men. What do you want? Beauty, you can't leave. I haven't had enough yet. Zhu Guangming smiled. Screw you, get out of my way. I want to go home. Zhu Lingling felt dizzy and wanted to leave as soon as possible. You're feisty, but that's what I like. You'll definitely feel good, Zhu Guangming said as he reached out and pinched Zhu Lingling's face. Zhu Lingling took a step back and almost fell to the ground. In a moment of desperation, she took out her phone and sent a WeChat message, "Come and pick me up. I'm in Seductive Fox, room 808. Tell your husband to come with you, hurry." Zhu Lingling knew that she had to ask Huamin for help. Of course, Huamin couldn't do it alone. She would be a lamb in a tiger's den if she came, so she repeatedly asked Qin Chu to come with her. However, she didn't know that Qin Chu was on a business trip to the neighboring city and hadn't returned yet. After Huamin heard the message, he felt that something was wrong with Lingling's voice. He called her back, but no one picked up. Suddenly, she had a bad feeling. She quickly got dressed and drove to Seductive Fox. Since it was late at night, there weren't many cars on the road. Huamin sped all the way to Seductive Fox in 12 minutes. This was the fastest she had ever driven since she started driving. She had even forgotten the fastest she had ever driven at that time. "Miss, are you alone?" The receptionist at the door greeted her politely. "No, I'm here to pick up a friend," Huamin said in a hurry. Then, she took the elevator to the 8th floor. The moment she pushed open the door to the room, everyone looked over. Huamin was only wearing a pair of black wide-legged pants, a white t-shirt, and a long black vest. It was a simple combination of black and white, but it was very pleasing to the eye. When paired with her delicate and pretty face, it was just right. Her temperament was absolutely full. "Lingling," she shouted in a panic. At this time, Zhu Lingling was lying in a man's arms. Her clothes were untidy. That monkey-faced man was groping her all over. Her heart was filled with anger. Zhu Lingling seemed to be unconscious. When she saw Huamin, she did not react. As a professional medical staff, she immediately understood that Lingling had been drugged. "Ayo, where did this beauty come from?" Her temperament is not bad. Zhu Guangming looked lecherously at Huamin at the door and laughed. Huamin did not speak. He looked at the men and women in the private room and asked, "Who is Deng Kai?" She knew that Deng Kai was the one who brought Ling Ling here. Otherwise, she wouldn't have come to a high-end place like Seductive Fox. However, her boyfriend brought her here. Now, she was being taken advantage of in another man's arms. He even drugged her. She was speechless. "I am. Who are you?" Deng Kai was having fun with a mixed-race beauty on the side. When he heard someone call his name, he immediately stood up. Huamin walked over to Deng Kai and, without saying anything, slapped him across the face. It was a very clear and crisp sound, and it shocked everyone present. TSK, where did this little pepper come from? She's so unique. A few rich guys watched the commotion and began to gossip. "Who the fuck are you? Why did you hit me?" Deng Kai was dumbfounded. He looked at Huamin angrily. "As Ling Ling's boyfriend, you brought her to a place like this. Not only did you not take good care of her, you even allowed her to be drugged and taken advantage of. I really want to know, when your mother gave birth to you, did she abandon you and raise the placenta?" After Huamin yelled at Deng Kai, someone immediately burst out laughing. This was the first time they had heard a girl yell at someone so funny. It was simply shocking. Wei Liao narrowed his eyes at Huamin. Then, he deliberately asked Su Yu, "This girl looks a little familiar to you. This little girl looks a little familiar. Is she the one you've been thinking about?" Su Yu didn't say anything. However, ever since Huamin walked into the private room, his gaze had never left her. He had to admit that every time he saw Huamin, his heart would race. It was a strange feeling. Chapter 309. Where did this crazy woman come from? Is she crazy? Deng Kai was completely confused after being scolded and beaten up. He drank too much and had too much fun. He completely forgot that Zhu Lingling once told him that she had a best friend named Huamin. He had no recollection of Huamin at all. Huamin ignored everything else and walked up to Zhu Guangming. He pulled the dazed Zhu Lingling out of his arms. "Lingling, let's go." "Wait." Zhu Guangming's face darkened. Huamin did not stop at all. He walked straight to the door of the private room but was stopped by Zhu Guangming's subordinates. "How dare you take someone from my arms? Do you think I'm blind?" Zhu Guangming was having a good time, so how could he be happy when someone ruined the beautiful atmosphere? "Lingling is my best friend. She asked me to take her away, so I'm taking her away. It's that simple." Haha, what an arrogant tone. Do you think this is a market? You think you can come and go as you please? Zhu Guangming sneered and slowly sat up from the sofa. He had plenty of ways to deal with these lowly commoners. This was especially true for weak little girls. He loved to play cat and mouse games the most. Just then, Hu Yangyang suddenly walked over. He placed his hand on Zhu Guangming's shoulder and smiled. "Young Master Zhu, you're so lucky. Can we have a threesome tonight?" "A threesome? Ha ha ha, that's a good idea. You're smart." Zhu Guangming was immediately enlightened by Hu Yanyan's suggestion. Huamin glanced coldly at Hu Yanyan's face. "You make it sound like you've done it before. How is that possible? I'm a girl from a good family. I'm a socialite, not like you. You're low-class trash. Even if you sell yourself, you won't be able to get a good price." "Miss Hu, do you guys know each other?" Zhu Guangming obviously noticed something. To his surprise, Hu Mian and Hu Yangyang both denied it at the same time. "We don't know him." "Haha, it's easy if you don't know me. Little beauty, you definitely won't be able to leave today. Why don't you stay and play with me? Or you can go by yourself and leave your good sister behind. What do you think?" Huamin was extremely calm. He held Zhu Lingling's waist tightly, then looked at Zhu Guangming and said word by word, "You look like a human demon dog, but you don't speak human language. People like you are a waste of air if you live, and a waste of land if you die." Wei Liao, who was watching from the side, couldn't help but laugh. This girl is so funny. Even her scolding is so stylish, and her face is so serious. No wonder you like her. She's always been like this, Su Yu replied, staring at Hua Min's face. Go ahead and scold her. The more you scold her, the more I'll find you in bed later, eh? Zhu Guangming laughed lecherously. He thought that a weak woman like Hua Min, who had no background and no one to protect her, didn't seem like she knew any martial arts. It was a fool's dream to think that he could take her away in this private room with more than 20 people. At this moment, he already thought of Hua Min and Zhu Lingling as food on his plate, waiting to be enjoyed. I don't believe in ghosts. The more you don't let me go, the more I want to go. Let's see who dares to stop me. Hua Min looked around coldly. Even when she saw Su Yu, there wasn't a trace of emotion in her eyes. It was as if she was looking at a stranger. Zhu Lingling had already told her that Su Yu was here, so she wasn't curious. Wei Liao looked at Su Yu with interest. Isn't it your turn now? How about a hero saving a damsel in distress? TSK. This plot development is almost like an 8 o'clock drama. Chapter 310. Su Yu didn't say anything. He just stared at Hua Min's delicate side profile. His gaze was deep, and no one could tell what he was thinking. Hua Min left in a hurry, and the wind was strong at night, so she only wore a simple set of casual clothes. Black and white were so old-fashioned, but she managed to look like a socialite. Needless to say, Hua Min's aura wasn't something normal people could match. Her hair was tied up in a simple ponytail, and it looked especially delicate. Her outfit was a little simple, but the situation was urgent, so she just randomly put it on and didn't care about her image. However, Su Yu loved to look at her. He thought that Hua Min looked especially good tonight. Actually, at the end of the day, it was because Su Yu put his heart on Hua Min. Even if she wore a cotton jacket and cotton pants, he would still think she looked good. This was the charm of beauty in the eye of the beholder. Little girl, don't try to struggle. Come here before I get angry, or else, if I get angry, the consequences will be very serious. Zhu Guangming didn't lose his patience, so he kept calling her little girl. Hua Min's scalp went numb. If she wasn't holding Zhu Lingling in her arms, she really wanted to kick this disgusting scumbag to death. He was as disgusting as she could get. If this kind of person stayed at South Side to recuperate, she would use needles to cripple him. She wouldn't hold back at all. You can't touch me, or you'll regret it. Get out of my way. Hua Min didn't want to waste any more time, so she gave a final warning. Hey, little cutie, are you angry? I want to see how you'll regret it. To Zhu Guangming, this was undoubtedly a little girl's last struggle. It wasn't even worth mentioning. Instead, it aroused his desire to conquer her. Zhu Guangming then reached out to take off his t-shirt, revealing his upper body. Oh, young Master Zhu is going to have some fun. Someone on the side cheered. Then, some clapped, some whistled, and everyone watched as if they were watching a monkey show. Hua Min disliked this kind of scene very much. She already had a countermeasure in mind and wanted to end this confrontation quickly. Wei Liao could no longer remain calm because he saw that Su Yu had no intention of making a move. This didn't make sense. Shouldn't he make a move at this moment and act like a hero saving the beauty? In the end, the beauty would be grateful and he would win her heart. Was that how the script was written? In the end, Wei Liao couldn't help but remind him again, Lord Su, aren't you going to make a move? Otherwise, it will be too late. Zhu Guangming is very cruel when he plays with women. Can you really bear to see the girl you like be ruined? Su Yu glanced at Wei Liao coldly and asked, if you're in a hurry, why don't you go and save her? Wei Liao was speechless. Actually, it wasn't that Su Yu didn't want to make a move. He was just waiting. He was waiting for Hua Min to ask him for help. He wasn't so cheap that he would run over and flatter her before she even said anything. That wasn't Su Yu's style. He thought that as long as Hua Min gave him a meaningful look, he would immediately cripple Zhu Guangming, this beast. Unfortunately, Hua Min was extremely calm and had no intention of asking him for help. Moreover, when she glanced at him, it was as if she was looking at a stranger. She didn't linger for a second longer. He had seen Hua Min's arrogance before, but he didn't expect her to still be so arrogant at a time like this. His interest was completely piqued. He wanted to see how a weak girl like Huamin would escape from this wolf's den. After Zhu Guangming took off his clothes, he approached Huamin naked. With a lewd smile on his face, he said, "Baby, big brother is coming." Huamin only smiled slightly. Chapter 311. Just as everyone was ready to watch the show, including that bitch Huayangyang, who was taking photos with her phone, they were all waiting to see Huamin make a fool of herself. In the blink of an eye, Huamin pushed Zhu Lingling onto the sofa. Then, she walked towards Zhu Guangming. Zhu Guangming didn't expect this girl to take the initiative and was stunned. When he wasn't paying attention, Huamian lifted his arms and twisted them back with all her strength. With two cracking sounds, his arms were completely dislocated. A blood-curdling scream reverberated throughout the room. While the men were still confused, Huamin quickly picked up a beer bottle from the table and smashed it into Zhu Guangming's head. Then, he smashed Zhu Guangming's head into pieces, scaring many women into screaming. Finally, just when everyone thought it was over, Huamin pointed the remaining half of the beer bottle at Zhu Guangming's neck. Because the beer bottle was broken, it became even sharper. If Zhu Guangming wasn't careful, it could kill him. Moreover, Huamin was pressing it against Zhu Guangming's neck. It was an artery. It could kill him at any moment. Everything happened so quickly that everyone in the audience was dumbfounded. Su Yu's heart raced as he watched. Perfect. Wei Liao almost applauded Huamin. "You bitch, what are you doing? Let go of me." Zhu Guangming's arms were dislocated and he was in so much pain that he couldn't stop crying. He didn't expect to have a broken beer bottle pressed against his neck. His face was pale from fear. "If you don't want him to die, move aside. I'm taking my friend away." Huamin's tone was as calm as ever. Her expression didn't change at all. It was as if everything was under her control. It would be a miracle if these idiots could react. In such a short time, she turned the situation around. Other than Huamin, no one else could do it. "Why are you guys still standing there? Go and kill this bitch." Zhu Guangming endured the pain and yelled at his men. "Brother Huamin." Only then did the men realize what was going on. They all leaned towards Huamin. "Don't come any closer, or else his dead meat." Huamin pushed the wine bottle in his hand hard. The sharpness of the glass instantly pierced through the skin on Zhu Guangming's neck, causing him to wail in pain. "Ah, it hurts. Don't come over. Hurry, hurry and go back." Zhu Guangming realized that this woman really didn't care about her life. She wasn't just trying to scare him. She was serious. At this moment, Huayangyang said, "Hurry up and capture her friend's woman and threaten her. When the time comes, a life for a life. Don't be afraid that she won't surrender." Huayangyang was indeed a little smarter than those people. At this critical juncture, he still had to give Zhu Guangming bad ideas. Sure enough, when those good-for-nothings heard Huayanyan's words, they immediately went to grab Zhu Lingling. After all, Huamin was alone. He could take care of Zhu Guangming, but he couldn't take care of Zhu Lingling. Everyone thought that once Zhu Lingling was taken hostage, Huamin would let go of Zhu Guangming. However, the reality was that they were all wrong. Even though Zhu Lingling was being threatened, she had no intention of letting go of Zhu Guangming. "Let go of our brother Zhu, or else your friend is dead meat," one of the men said viciously as he strangled Zhu Lingling's neck. Huamin was still very calm. "Why don't we do it together? Let's see if my friend or your brother Zhu dies first." "You." Those men were instantly dumbfounded. They didn't think that this woman would be so difficult to talk to. She didn't even compromise. Then, Huamin added, "Hold on to my friend properly. Otherwise, if she loses a single strand of hair, I'll cut off a piece of your brother Zhu's flesh. You can try if you don't believe me." After speaking, Huamin tightened his grip on the beer bottle. At this moment, Zhu Guangming's face had already turned purple. He was so scared that he almost peed his pants. At this moment, Wei Liao, who was watching from the side, sighed, "Lord Su, the person you're interested in, is indeed a ruthless character." Chapter 312. Hua Yangyang was infuriated when she saw Zhu Guangming's men being held back. She added fuel to the fire. Don't be afraid of her. She's just a woman, she won't dare to do anything. There are so many of us here, how can we let these two women go? If word gets out, we'll be laughed at. Hua Min glanced at Hua Yangyang and continued to pressure them. You can listen to this woman's lies. When the time comes, I'll drain your brother Zhu's blood. Worse comes to worst, you'll pay with your life. We're both commoners and our lives are worthless. I heard that your brother Zhu is a tycoon with too much money. It would be a pity if he died at such a young age. TSK. As soon as Hua Min finished speaking, the men stepped back, not daring to act rashly. Sister, let's talk nicely. This stalemate is too dangerous. Let me go first and I'll ask my men to send you guys out, okay? After hearing what Hua Min said, Zhu Guangming's legs turned to jelly. He was no longer arrogant and only wanted to save his own life. Hua Min was right. His family was so rich. If he really died because of this, it wouldn't be worth it. Why should he be so calculative with two women? I'm not a child. Don't negotiate with me. Let me go or we'll both die here. My patience is limited. You better hurry up or I'll have to drain your blood first. After saying this, Hua Min gently cut Zhu Guangming's neck and blood immediately oozed out. Actually, she didn't cut too deeply. It was just a superficial wound. As a medical staff member, she knew how to control herself. However, in the eyes of outsiders, this was a crazy move. Oh my god, this woman is really going to drain brother Zhu's blood. There's so much blood. It's scary. Should we call the police? The people in the private room couldn't stay calm anymore. They were all in a state of panic. This was really serious. These rich kids only knew how to eat, drink, and play. They had never seen such a bloody scene. Quick, let him go. Get out of the way. This woman is crazy. Zhu Guangming felt a chill on his neck and sticky blood flowed out. At this moment, his willpower had completely collapsed. At this moment, Su Yu looked at Hua Min with eyes full of appreciation. Yes, he admired her. She was calm in the face of danger and her expression did not change. She could control the situation and knew how to defeat the enemy in one move. He could easily destroy Zhu Guangming's willpower and control the entire situation by himself. This woman's talent was wasted in the modern era. If she was placed in ancient times, she would at least be a talented general, the material of a marshal. He was quick-witted, steady, accurate, and ruthless in his actions. He didn't say much, but every word he said was deadly. At this moment, this group of men had completely turned into good-for-nothings under her halo. Don't let her go. Don't be afraid, it'll be fine, Hua Yangyang shouted sharply. Unfortunately, no one paid any attention to her. At this time, who would still believe that Hua Min was not joking? If this were to continue, he would really lose his life. Motherfucker, why are you still standing there like idiots? Hurry up and let her go, sob. In the end, Zhu Guangming was already crying because he felt that he was going to bleed out and die at any moment. Hurry up, everyone move aside. Open the door. Someone in the crowd shouted. In the end, everyone retreated, and the door of the private room opened. Hua Min was still holding on to Zhu Guangming's collar with one hand and the broken wine bottle with the other, not leaving even a step. You, help my friend and come downstairs with me. Don't follow us. Hua Min looked at the man holding on to Zhu Lingling and ordered. The man did not dare to delay. He immediately helped Zhu Lingling and followed Hua Min out of the private room. The others were watching, but no one dared to chase after them. In the end, Hua Min held Zhu Guangming hostage and went downstairs. He ordered another man to put Zhu Lingling in the passenger seat. Put her down and then move 50 meters away, Hua Min ordered again. The man immediately did as he was told. After making sure that no one was chasing after them, everything was okay. Hua Min pushed Zhu Guangming away, opened the car door, and drove away. At this moment, the others immediately went up and helped Zhu Guangming back to the private room. Hurry up and call 120, someone in the crowd shouted. What 120? Hurry up and chase after that car with me. Surround the entire city. We must kill those two bitches. Zhu Guangming did not feel good until he vented his anger. His anger and fear had reached its peak. Just as these people were about to rush out and chase after the car, Su Yu slowly stood up and said, "Don't chase." Chapter 313. Young Master Su. No one understood what he meant. They didn't know why the young master, who had been watching the show for so long, suddenly spoke up. Don't ask so many questions. If Lord Su says no one is allowed to go, then no one is allowed to go. If you annoy Lord Su, you guys can do whatever you want. Wei Liao also stood up with a smile. Although Zhu Guangming was unwilling, he didn't dare to do anything because of Su Yu's words. He could only swallow his anger for now. After Huemin left, Su Yu also lost his mood. He stood up and left. A group of people followed behind him. When Hu Yangyang saw Su Yu leave, she immediately followed him. Young Master Su. I want to. Hu Yangyang volunteered to block Su Yu's path. The parrot and chicken feather costume she was wearing was especially eye-catching. She wanted to use her heavy taste to win Su Yu's affection. She didn't know who was brave enough to spread rumors that Su Yu was a freak. She always liked things that were out of place and weird, just for the sake of novelty. Hu Yangyang spent a lot of money to find a stylist to imitate her stunning godmother, Lady Gaga. She didn't expect that she would fail. Lady Gaga had always been like this. Her sudden move was really too much for him to handle. She was such a good woman, but she kept looking for trouble. No wonder Hu Xiqian once said that Hu Yangyang was a brainless idiot with big boobs. Get out of my way. Su Yu mercilessly waved his hand and pushed Hu Yangyang to the side. Just now, Hu Yangyang caused a lot of trouble. Su Yu didn't even have time to deal with her. Luckily, Huemin was fine. If Huemin was hurt even a little bit because of this, he would immediately pull out Hu Yanyan's tongue. Who asked her to talk so much? After Su Yu pushed Hu Yangyang away, he got into his black Lamborghini. Wei Liao sat in the passenger seat. Where are we going now? Are we going to find your girl? Wei Liao asked with a smile. Su Yu didn't say anything. He stepped on the gas pedal and the car shot out. Wei Liao was so scared that he broke out in cold sweat. He knew what Su Yu was thinking, but he couldn't guess it all. After all, he was a fickle guy, Su Yu, and he was a fickle guy. He drove all the way to Lingling's parents' house. He wanted to go to Lingling's place, but he was afraid that those people would come after him for revenge. After all, Huemian Su Yu's boyfriend, Zhu Lingling. When she passed by the pharmacy, she bought some hangover medicine and gave it to Lingling. When he dropped her off at her parents' place, Huemin only said that she was drunk. Everyone knew that Huemin was Zhu Lingling's good friend, so Zhu Lingling's parents didn't think much of it. Huemin observed for a while. When he saw that Zhu Lingling was asleep and stable, he felt at ease and went home. She was very careful on the way home because she knew that those people weren't simple people. It was possible that they would follow her in the middle of the night and take revenge. Luckily, everything was calm. However, the calmer it was, the more uneasy she felt. She was very nervous just now. Luckily, she was calm. Otherwise, would she really have killed Zhu Guangming? Of course not. She wasn't that stupid. Murder was a capital offense. She just thought that if she had to, she would. Su Yu wouldn't just stand by and watch, right? Of course, if she could solve it herself, she would solve it herself. Huemin didn't want to owe anyone a favor. Especially when she owed Su Yu a favor. She already knew how Su Yu felt about her. Although she didn't know if he was sincere or if he was just playing around, or if he really liked her a little. She didn't care at all, because in her heart, Qin Chu was enough. When Huemin got home, it was already 2:30 in the morning. After she entered the house, she saw the dim light in the living room. Qin Chu was sitting there, wearing a jacket and smoking. You're back. Seeing Qin Chu, Huemin felt strangely at ease. Where did you go? Qin Chu raised his head. When he looked at Huemin, his gaze was a little complicated. Chapter 314. Oh, Lingling is playing outside. She's drunk, so I'm going to pick her up. It's so late, do you think it's safe for you to pick her up at a nightclub? Chin Chu's tone was a bit cold. He was completely different from his usual self. Huamin had a vague feeling that something was wrong. Oh, it's fine, I'm not drunk. Plus, didn't I come back safely? Huamin smiled. Chin Chu didn't say anything else, but his expression remained indifferent. Are you hungry? I'll make you a midnight snack. No, it's okay, I already ate. Then I'll run the bath for you. Huamin asked guiltily. You go to bed first, I still have work to do. After speaking, Chin Chu got up, went upstairs, and went straight into his study. With a bang, the door to the study was tightly shut, and even the sound was louder than usual. Huamin was a bit confused. Is Mr. Chin on his period? He's acting a bit weird today. Although he was confused, he didn't think too much about it. Huamin would never tell Chin Chu what just happened. If Chin Chu found out that she faced off against more than 20 men by herself, and even risked her life, he would go crazy. Chin Chu would go crazy. She knew how much Chin Chu cared about her safety. Just look at the huge amount of insurance he placed on her. Huamin then took a shower and crawled under the covers. After waiting for a long time, Chin Chu didn't come back to the room. In the end, she fell asleep on her own. Inside the study, Chin Chu looked at his laptop and didn't look like he was going to work at all. He was originally in a meeting in a neighboring city, and he was going to have an emergency meeting overnight. GK invested in real estate in a neighboring city, but the local government introduced a new policy and made changes. In order to not waste the billions that they invested, Chin Chu had no choice but to bring people to the construction site to inspect. Then, he brought a few executives and engineers for an overnight meeting. However, in the middle of the night, he suddenly received a video recording. It was from Rick. Rick and Chin Chu were friends, but they rarely contacted each other. Under normal circumstances, Rick would never look for Chin Chu if he didn't need anything. After all, their identities were too special. No one knew that when Chin Chu was in the United States, he had a special relationship with Rick and Rick's family. After returning to China, Chin Chu had used Rick's connections once to investigate the incident where the truck had almost hit Huamin. Rick's sudden video call was definitely not because he was bored. Chin Chu waved his hand and ended the meeting. He walked into the lounge and watched the video. Then, their faces darkened. Seductive Fox nightclub was one of the Rick family's businesses, and there were surveillance cameras in every corner. Therefore, from the moment Huamin walked in to the moment Huamin walked out, Chin Chu saw everything clearly. At the end, Rick added, I heard that you're not in the city, but don't worry, we'll be fine. In other words, Rick would definitely protect Huamin, but to his surprise, Huamin easily escaped. Although this method was a little risky, it really made people look at him in a new light. Huamin probably didn't know that someone was secretly protecting her at Seductive Fox nightclub. After Chin Chu saw what Huamin did, he felt terrible. He was no longer in the mood for meetings, so he drove straight home and waited for Huamin to confess and admit her mistakes. He was clearly telling her not to do dangerous things, but she kept putting herself at the heart of the struggle. If it wasn't Rick's nightclub, if those people were also criminals, would Huamin still be able to walk out of it unscathed? He didn't even dare to think about it. However, after he came home and questioned her, this woman pretended to be dumb and didn't say a word about what happened that night. Didn't he have the right to worry? Shouldn't a married couple be honest with each other? This was the first time Chin Chu was so angry. He was angrier than before, so he completely ignored Huamin and went to the study. He didn't go back to his room the entire night. The next morning, when Huamin woke up in the morning, she didn't see any breakfast or Chin Chu. She sent him a WeChat message. Did you go to work? After a while, she didn't get a response. Huamin thought that Chin Chu might still be busy, so she didn't think too much about it. She walked out the door and thought that someone might have taken her license plate number, so she didn't drive. Instead, she took a cab to the hospital. As soon as she arrived at the hospital, she received a call from Zhu Lingling. Girl, what happened last night? Zhu Lingling's voice was hoarse as she asked in a daze. Chapter 315. Sis, you still have the nerve to ask. Huamin was speechless. I only remember that Jew whatever drugged me. I felt really dizzy, so I sent you a WeChat message. I don't remember anything after that. Oh, right, I remember seeing Hua Yangyang there. Oh my god, she was dressed like a feather duster, so funny. Sis, you still have the time to laugh at other people. You were almost raped, did you know that? Almost means that it didn't happen. Haha, you must have come in time, right? Of course, if I didn't go, you would be screwed. Haha, I knew you would come. You went with Chin Chu, right? Those scumbags must have been shocked when they saw Chin Chu. It must have felt so good to be killed in seconds. Too bad I didn't get to see it. Huamin paused for a moment and said, don't talk to that scumbag boyfriend of yours anymore. Break up with him and don't talk to him anymore. Of course, do I need you to tell me that? If I saw him, I would beat him up and break up with him. Zhu Lingling was speechless when it came to her boyfriend. He betrayed her at such a critical moment. He was not a man at all. She was almost raped by that Jew guy. Luckily, Huamin was there. Huamin didn't want to talk too much about what happened last night because he didn't want Zhu Lingling to feel guilty. Some things were in the past, and it was best if they didn't happen. After hanging up the phone, Huamin went back to work. Huamin's incident last night had already spread among the upper class. Many people wanted to see this tough woman for themselves. They wanted to see the scene with their own eyes. Apparently, Zhu Guangming was already recuperating in the first hospital's VIP room. Not only did his family take turns to look after him, they even hired bodyguards. This time, he was almost scared to death by a woman. Huang Yu had always been a gossipy nurse. During her lunch break, she secretly sent Huamin a WeChat message. Mion, come out. What's up? Today, a young master was admitted to our VIP ward. I heard that he is the son of the coal boss. Yes, Huamin replied calmly. Do you know how he got in? I don't know. Haha, you might not believe me even if I tell you. I heard that he was drunk last night and wanted to rape a girl. In the end, he met an expert. That girl was trained and her skills were too good. She beat him up badly. Not only did he dislocate his arm, but she also almost slit his throat. I don't know where this girl came from. She's so valiant. Cough, cough, cough. Where did you hear all this nonsense from? Huamin was drinking water when he almost spat it out. Expert. Trained before? Cut the throat. Did it have to be so dangerous? It's not nonsense. It's true. I heard that the rich second generation was scared to death and is now hospitalized. There are 8 bodyguards guarding the door. I really want to know the shadow in his heart at this moment. It's not serious, is it? Huamin wondered if the other party would hold him responsible if he hit him too hard. It's nothing serious. It's all superficial wounds. His arm has been fixed. It's just that he was too scared and can't sleep. The neurologist just gave him a tranquilizer. Oh. Huamin finally let out a sigh of relief. He was relieved to hear from Huang Yu that the scumbag was fine. Fortunately, the scumbag was admitted to the first hospital. If he came directly to Southside, he wondered if he would fall to the ground and start foaming at the mouth when he saw that the nurse was Huamin. After all, Huamin left a deep impression on him last night. It was like a nightmare. Hua Corporation headquarters, so, my little sister Mion almost turned the earth upside down last night. Hua Xiqian played with a small globe in his hand as he listened to one of his subordinates report to him. A meaningful smile appeared on his face. Don't forget that you had a romantic relationship with the heir of the Qin family when you were in school. What? Su Yu is interested in Huamin? Isn't that a joke? Shinjiani was very surprised. Her daughter had always wanted to get close to Su Yu. She didn't expect Su Yu to be involved with Huamin. Jiang Hong took a sip of red wine gracefully and smiled. What's so funny about that? Everyone has their own preferences. Our Yang Yang may be as pretty as a flower, but Suyu might not like her. You never know. Shunjiani glanced at Jiang Hong. She knew that she was doing this on purpose, but she didn't want to argue with her. Hua Zhenghai had heard about what happened to Huamin in school, but he didn't think much of it. They were all kids back then, and marriage wasn't involved. There were no business interests involved either, so it wasn't worth mentioning. Where did you get the news? Are you sure? Hua Zhenghai still didn't believe it and asked. You're tuning in to the Dreamy Chapters YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.